गजानंद स्तंभांच्या भव्य प्रवेशद्वारातून शिरणाऱ्या प्रत्येकाचा त्रिवार प्रणाम. त्या ऐरावतीची जिव्हाळा, त्या सरदेवी ससूनला, त्या सर्व गुरुजनांना आणि आपलेपणानं सर्वस्व अर्पण करणाऱ्या त्या भागणी निनावी रुग्णांना त्रिवार प्रणाम, त्रिवार प्रणाम.
पहिला आता पीजी करतोय का?
तो आहे UK. तो विजयला केल्या मुंबईला ऑफ झालं केलं नंतर आता रेडिओ
Alfred Lord Tennyson said, and I quote, "I'm a part of all that I have met. We all take different paths in life, but no matter where we go, we take a little bit of each other everywhere." Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Varsha Bhatt, MD Medicine batch of 2001 to 2004 from Dr. A.L. Kakrani unit. I'm currently Professor, Consultant Rheumatologist, and faculty in the Department of Clinical Immunology and Rheumatology, Bharati Vidyapeeth Medical College and Hospital, Pune, and I also consult at Apollo Clinics, Pune. I have been a medical educator for the past almost 20 years now, and I'm an avid researcher as well. A little more about me: I'm an Air Force cadet and Army wife, and I have traveled and worked and lived across India in many cities. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you for this first ever get-together of the BJ Medical College Department of Medicine Alumni Get-Together. I welcome you all on this beautiful Sunday morning to our alma mater and the MG auditorium. When my teacher, Dr. Samini Madam, created a WhatsApp group of all the alumni of our medicine department through so many generations for the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the BJ Medical College Research Society, little did I know that this group, which was created, would consist of so many of us who don't really know each other through so many generations and across many continents, and it would bring us all together in a short span of just 2 months. All of you have become like family to me now. I am privileged to be part of this amazing, learned, superbly talented group of people, and I'm so glad that you've taken out time today to be with us so that we can create some really good new memories. Now, all of us have been part of the medicine department in BJ Medical College, so all of us have a memory to share and a story to tell. This venerable institute has taught us not only medicine but also life. The founding parents of our department have created a legacy which has withstood the test of time. And today we are gathered here not just to reminisce about old times but also to forge new connections as we look forward and explore new things together. So we have put together a very memorable program for you today, and I hope you thoroughly enjoy it. So to start off our program, I would like to first welcome on stage my mentor and a guide to many of us, respected Dr. A.L. Kakrani sir, who did his MD Medicine from MGM Medical College in Indore in 1976 and joined the Department of Medicine in BJ Medical College in 1989. He was HOD of Department of Medicine, BJMC Pune from 2003 to 2008 and is one of the legends of our department. He went on to head the Department of Medicine in Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pune till Jan 2020 and was Dean Faculty of Medicine for Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth. He is currently Professor of Clinical Evidence and Director Academic Collaborations, DPU. I call upon Sir and welcome him to the stage to give us his blessings and good wishes.
Good morning. I welcome you all to this first alumni meet of Department of Medicine, BJ Medical College. Respected teachers sitting in front of me, very senior learned professors, my colleagues and friends. This concept of alumni meet was in process for quite some time, but it got precipitated when Department of Medicine under the leadership of Dr. Borse was given the responsibility of arranging the Research Society in 2024. And Dr. Sagre, the past professor, became the President of Research Society of BJ Medical College. So we thought we'll make a group and encourage people to come for Research Society. we made a small group and we thought we will implement the linkages, and we made a small WhatsApp group. And to our surprise, this group was made on 26th of August. And to our surprise, in 5 days, we could gather 500 people coming together who were connected to Department of Medicine. This was beyond our imagination also. And then still this process is going on. So morning I saw the list, it has gone to 604. I think some more will join after knowing about this event. So then when this process started, we thought it is becoming a big responsibility. We made a small core group of about 5-6 people, which has also sold now to 2025. Some of them working overtime from beginning, some of them joined later, and we did not hire any professional event manager. We decided to do everything ourselves. And we used to meet every day. Once we met physically, and that day it was raining so heavily that we decided not to meet physically again. And we every day met online between 10 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. in the night, and the planning went on. And now you see the outcome. Now there are 225 delegates which are registered today to come physically here, and I'm sure almost everybody has come or on the way. And I'll only say that this ये एक छोटा सा झुंड बना था प्रोग्राम के लिए, ये कितना बड़ा कब हो गया पता हमें भी पता नहीं पड़ा. And the response was so phenomenal that we are amazed, and I welcome you all once again and thank you. If there are any shortfalls, because as I told, we are not the event managers, but we are running this event from this event. So if there are shortfalls, we may be excused and pardoned. It is your own institute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your good wishes and blessings, without which this program cannot really start. Now I have with me my colleague and dear friend, Dr. Vaishali Vishnu. Vaishali is MD Medicine batch of 1996 to 99 in Dr. V. Lokanwala unit. She is consultant and head endocrinologist in Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital and Research Center and Deshmukh Clinic and Research Center, Pune. She is also assistant professor of endocrinology at Sassoon General Hospital. She is the first female endocrinologist of Pune city, and she is the secretary of Angiosphere, which works in non-communicable disease, and her special interests lie in mind-body medicine and women's health. Today, we are privileged, both of us, Vaishali and I, to take you through this journey, through nostalgia and future endeavors. Over to Vaishali.
It's nice to host the event with Varsha. She's been my new friend, the latest friend, because of this meeting. And I would thank all of you who have come all the way from far off distances just to connect and be with each other today. So I thought that all my teachers, seniors, colleagues, friends, students, everybody should know that what was the purpose of starting this group. So I think we are alumnus for long, but nobody ever thought of this. And it just happened that I came across a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And one of the regrets was we failed to connect, or we wish that we could connect with our friends our near and dear ones. And that just struck me, and I happened to be Madam the very same day in Harvard. And I told Madam that we should connect. And I think her brilliant idea, she said we form a WhatsApp group and we will decide our mottos for forming that group. And 3 important mottos were taken into account. One was 3 C's, you can say. The first C being connect. So connecting with all of us. I'm sure that I have heard of every one of you would have failed to interact and meet you in person, and I think that's the success of this group. We have been able to connect with each other. It feels like a family now. I know many names and many faces which I would have never thought I would ever dream to meet in the future. So that is one thing, that we could connect with each other. So the first C was, I think, 100% successful. The second C was to celebrate. So celebrate this occasion of togetherness, celebrate our friendship, celebrate the studentship, better and better. Not only our academics, but also our non-academic, you can say, tastes have increased. So you can see there are stalwarts in field of non-academics and extracurricular activities also. So I think we are learning value addition to our already existing successful career, and I think that is adding taste, value and quality of life to our already existing, you can say, successful state of affairs. So I think the collaboration is an ongoing process. It has to continue. We look forward to see all of you every year henceforth, and I think the Research Society Conference is the beginning of the academic collaboration. So we would like to see all of you at the Research Society Conference, which is going to be held in February. And so today I don't want to say goodbye to anybody. I want to say we meet again and again and see you all again next year. So thank you all for the patient listening, and I hand over to Anisha for the presentation.
Thank you so much, Vaishali. No program can ever start without invoking the Mother Goddess, Saraswati Mata. Before we start the song, I would request all of you to put your mobiles in silent, please. I now welcome on stage Dr. Vasudha Sardesai. She is undergrad and postgrad from BK Medical College and Sassoon General Hospital, batch of 1988 to 1990. And now she is a consultant physician and diabetologist in the Nana Mangeshkar Hospital and Research Center. She has a special interest in poetry, violin, painting and singing. I invite her to render the Saraswati Vandana. Thank you so much, Dr. Vasudha Sardesai. It was such a melodious start to today morning. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Uma Divde Madam on stage. She is MD Medicine batch of 1970 to 73 under Dr. G.S. Mutalik sir. She is one of the most senior physicians of the city, a consultant physician and HOD of Department of Medicine, Jahangir Hospital, Pune. And she is the co-founder and director, Jahangir Clinical Development Center, the trustee director of Hirabai Koasri Jahangir Medical Research Institute, and co-founder and director of Link Labs, which is a niche molecular and cell biology research lab. She's been a PG guide for DMD students and PhD medicine students for several years now, and is the co-author of more than 30 national and international publications. publications, including one in Lancet Oncology. This is a very special part of today's program, where we remember with gratitude all our seniors, respected colleagues, and dear friends whom we have lost along the way. We would be conducting this segment in two sections. I would request Uma Devi Madam to take the first section.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I wish to first thank the whole committee of the media analysts for inviting me to perform this sacred task. Our medicine department has sadly several icons on its journey to perfection. It is my humble privilege to speak about Dr. H.V. Sardesai, handsome, debonair, perfectly attired, worshipped by his patients and all of our students for his outstanding intelligence, his ability to teach extempore, his astute diagnosis, and above all, his bedside manner to rich and poor alike. His grasp of the fundamentals of internal medicine was unique and enjoyed by all tiers of Pune society during his public addresses for various social topics. Dr. K.V. Grant, icon of the city of Pune, who established the flourishing Ruby Hall Clinic, starting from 12 beds. He was unit in charge, Block 6, and used to run up 3 flights of stairs in his retirement. We all knew him for his sheer brilliance and dynamism. Professor Dr. D.K. Mitra, a charming, polite, humble gentleman, a student of Nagpur medicine, a special breed of astute clinicians and teachers. He mixed equally well with kings and paupers. He was loved by his students, still is, all over the world. Dr. D.K. Mitra and Dr. Mrs. Mitra were responsible for the procurement and establishment of several pieces of equipment in the ICU, the gastroenterology, and the nephrology units, which are now flourishing. These instruments were to a large extent not available in Pune's private and corporate hospitals, only in Sassoon. The Mitras were for me in loco parentis. Dr. V.S. Parad, he was a gold medalist from GS Medical College and would sometimes come out with excellent diagnosis, never thought of by anyone else. Dr. V.S. Prayag established the famous Prayag Hospital, situated at the crossroads of the busy JM Road. He was known for his tall, quiet presence in Block 14 as unit head. He has an annual oration in this very auditorium given by his son, Dr. Shirish, and his grandson, Dr. Parikshit, who themselves are equally famous in their own right. Dr. S.V. Gokhale, one of the first few cardiologists of Pune, who after reading medicine went to the US for training in clinical cardiology. On his return, he established the clinical unit of cardiology in Block 6. Very fond of Indian classical music, he was one of the founder members of the BJ Art Circle. He was instrumental in smoothly running the Savai Gandharva festival, usually held annually in Pune, and he was a very close friend of Pandit Vincent. Dr. S.J. Dilipal, also a gold medalist in final MBBS of UJMC. 6 foot tall, strapping, quiet, unassuming, the embodiment of trust from each of his patients. He was honorary in Block 6. His meticulous clinical examination was a household word. His OPDs went on to 3 a.m. at night. I don't know when he had dinner. Still, he regularly attended all clinical meets and asked pertinent questions at the end of each of them. He was deluged by awards and tragically lost his life just after his last award. Dr. Suresh Bhatti, a very quiet honorary in Block 6. Sorry. A very quiet honorary in Block 6 who was very good at teaching all of us and very keen on clinical examination. Dr. Bhatti taught me as well. I can't forget his clinic. Dr. A.S. Phadke, a household name in the city of Pune. He was founder trustee of Joshi Hospital, a careful, meticulous physician, excellent academic, tall, well-mannered, polite. His patients were very kind. Dr. S.M.S. Holi was the physician cardiologist, the charismatic founder of the Edeporia Institute of Cardiology, situated in the ground Champion Hospital. He was physician to all the great names like Nicholas Spencer. He incessantly had a cigarette drooping from the corner of his mouth, especially when shouting at patients to stop smoking instantly. His patients swore by him. They would never go to anyone else like me. So he fired them off and on in his typical Parsi Hindi and Marathi. Dr. V.R. White, short, charming, ever smiling, cheerful, dapper, always with his hand out to shake the hands of his patients, his colleagues, and his students. He was affectionate and worshipped by his clientele. He founded and headed the Pune Gastroenterology Association, and he performed endoscopies. He was an honorary consultant in Block 14. He died suddenly and tragically in a car accident, something that we still can't get over. Dr. C.J. Mistry, also a gold medalist in final MBBS, full-time HOD in the Department of Medicine after Dr. G.S. Mutala. He was tall, had a dapper, military wearing, and a moustache. He was always polite and unruffled. He had very mature outlook and a twinkling sense of humor. Academically and clinically very sound, a sought-after bachelor all his life. When he finally married Dr. Manik Kelkar, my friend, late in life. He was transferred and retired as HOD, JJ Hospital's founder. Dr. S.M. Deshpande. I worked under him as a registrar and Dr. Sardesai and Dr. R.S. He was consulted in Dr. Sardesai's unit. Apart from being a thorough gentleman and very close to all of us residents, he was an amazing craftsman. He used to wield a hammer, a chisel, a screwdriver, and he even manufactured an EMG needle for Dr. Mrs. Amin when the government refused to sanction it. At this stage, I have to say that it is the greatest tragedy of a teacher and a senior consultant to bid goodbye to my students and junior colleagues in this manner. I always feel I should have preceded them. Dr. M.R. Tulpuri, the boisterous, aggressive, well-read academician. He used to quote articles during all clinical meetings. He was interned in my unit when I was registrar of Dr. Survey Science Department. He was the most brilliant intern I have ever had till this day, over 50 years. Dr. Vikas Pai. Previous slide. Sorry. Dr. Vikas Pai was my junior colleague, but he was very close to me because we had two core interests, gastroenterology and clinical research. He was working in both of them. In memory of his wife, Kalpana, who was also my student and friend, he had established the Kalpana Mammography Center, the first of its kind in Pune. Dr. C.S. Sharma, he was head of department, family medicine in Jahangir Hospital until very recently when he expired, unfortunately, under my care. He welcomed me to Jahangir Hospital when I resigned from Sassoon in 1991. Called me to the ICU and we had a meeting together. Since then we've been close friends and associates. I'm sorry we don't have a photograph of Dr. Udsekar. He was a very kind, polite consultant, always smiling. He was a member of the Pune Association of the Chest Disease. He was a national Nairo hospital for infectious disease when students had to do a rotation. With this, I come to the end of this sad farewell to this great teacher who shaped my life, who has shaped, I think, the lives of all of us, and who taught us how to teach, how to treat, and how to live.
Thank you, Madam, for this emotional remembrance. Now for the second section of the segment, I welcome Dr. Rahul Kulkar. Rahul is MD Medicine batch of 1996 under Dr. V. Lokalwala unit, and his guide was Dr. R.S. Varia sir. He is presently Senior Consultant and Head of Department of Urology in Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital and Research Center, Pune. I hand over to Dr. Rahul for the second section of the segment.
We also remember some near and dear ones who were our colleagues, friends, seniors, who are unfortunately passed away. practicing in Chennai, passed away a few years back. Then Dr. Sudesh Kalgatti was doing his MD medicine, and unfortunately he passed away while doing his MD medicine as a resident a few years back. On a more recent time, Dr. Sanjay Tiwari was from 1986 batch. He was MD medicine student of Amin Madam, who was practicing near Nasik. On a personal note, I had worked with Sanjay as a co-lecturer with Dr. Amin Madam, and he was a very close and dear friend of many of us. He had an unfortunate accident, tragic accident a few years back, and he passed away. Some of you would also know Dr. Prasanna Nayaresh, who was a 1987 batch MD medicine from Vijay Medical College, who later did his EM cardiology, and then he was a professor of cardiology at KEM Hospital, Mumbai. He had a tragic accident a few years back, he passed away with a sudden event. Manohar More was another 1987 batch MBBS student who was an excellent cricketer as well as painter. He passed away while doing his MD medicine. He was my co-resident when I was doing my medicine, and we were unfortunate to be with him in the last moment of his life when he had an acute hepatitis. Then Dr. Chudaman Patil, who was my batchmate of 1988 batch, he did his MD medicine and was practicing in Pune, and who passed away a few years back because of COVID. Again, we were with him in the last moment of his life when he had severe COVID. More recently, we had Dr. Arun Menon, who was 1991 batch. He did his MD medicine, and then a few months later, he unfortunately passed away. And more recently, we have Dr. Nikhil Gopte, who was from 1996 batch. He did his DMB medicine from Vijay Medical College, and then he was practicing critical care medicine in Nasik, where he passed away suddenly. Lastly, we had Abhijit Dasgupta, who was 2000 batch. He did his MD medicine, did his neurology, he was practicing in Pune, and then he had a sudden unusual cardiac problem because of which he passed away. So we had many unfortunate colleagues who passed away, who lost us with a sudden event in between. So we remember all of them.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul. And I think you have placed many more in the list. Maybe we like to include if anybody more names in this list. But I would like to add Dr. Abhay Mutha sir was being our diabetes colleague from Ruby Hall, and tributes to him also. I would recommend, yes. Dr. Lokanda sir has been, of course, not that we list on this slide, but we had given this slide to respected teacher. But I think Dr. Vijay Lokanda sir, yes sir. Dr. Deepak Isre. Okay, so I would recommend all of you to submit the corrections if there are anything erroneous in this slide, because we have tried to make this in the spur of the moment and whoever we could recollect from the group. So
it's an incomplete list. We had Dr. Venus on this side, we had Dr. Babu Israel. There are few more which are missed in the list. This was just an incomplete list.
I think we would like to remember all of our friends by paying tribute to them by standing in silence for a minute.
Let us move on to the next segment, which I'm sure all of us have been waiting for. We have colleagues who have travelled long distances to be here with us. And they would surely like to see how their Department of Medicine and also their beloved Sassoon General Hospital has evolved over time. This segment promises a lot of nostalgia as well as a hope for a new and exciting tomorrow. To conduct this segment, I call upon Dr. H.B. Prasad sir. He is Professor of Medicine, BJ Medical College, Pune, himself an alumnus of BJMC batch of 1991. He's been a teacher since the last 32 years and he loves research and he's worked in 6 medical colleges across Maharashtra. He loves to sing in addition to his love for teaching and patient care. I invite Dr. Prasad to do the honors and present the virtual tour of the hospital. Please.
Dr. Moses, the Professor of Medicine, is going to join me, taking you along. It is indeed a very great, and I think the moment cannot be put in words. I see Vadia sir, I see Gulati sir, and so many senior teachers here. When we entered medical college long back, I entered in 1983, sir, probably 1979, and we looked at all these people and we wished we would become like them one day. It's impossible to be like you all, sir, but we have tried our best, and over the last 32 years and maybe 35 years, we have tried to bring the department to better heights, and we have always told the students that we have grown up old now, nearing 60s, because looking at our teachers and getting inspired from them, it's indeed a great, great honor to see all of you here and the students. My first PG student met me, that was in 97, and I don't know how many more have come, which remember faces, but most of the names were difficult to recollect. Respected teachers and dear friends, we are going to take you through a virtual journey, virtual tour of the hospital, because taking this crowd of 200 would have been very difficult. So we thought we'll bring the hospital and college here in this auditorium for you all to have a look. Can we start? Welcome friends, this is the new board you have all seen of our college. We all entered here many years back and some of you recently. These are the 2 dynamic professors, me and Dr. Borsi. Welcome to the college. Welcome to the college building. We all entered here with a lot of hopes and dreams and wish to become what we are today thanks to this. Once again, welcome to the college.
Viramji Jiji by statue. Everybody has witnessed this particular statue. Welcome all the next to the Viramji Jiji by statue. So we have already witnessed since many years the journey of our medicine department till date.
This is the Dean's Chamber, recently renovated. We have seen stalwarts who worked here. The institute is headed by Dr. Sanjeev Thakur, who is a surgeon. You can see the roll of honor, where the principals took over, then the deans. This is our dean, Dr. Sanjeev Thakur, who would like to have a word with you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Sanjeev Thakur, who joined as a dean of this prestigious medical college on 13th of January. First of all, I welcome all the alumni delegates of Department of Medicine from this prestigious BJ Medical College. It's indeed best to be are delivering the latest treatment. So we focus on undergraduate education.
Well friends, welcome to the college library. All of us spent a lot of time here during our undergraduate and postgraduate days. The most wonderful and amazing place of the college the college canteen. I'm sure all of you remember the hot samosas and the bun omelette served. And Vadia sir was very fond of that, I remember.
This is a cooperative consumer store, and everybody must have purchased a lot many books from this particular store. Not only you, but our son and your grandsons might also be purchasing the books from here.
Welcome to the Department of Anatomy, the first department we entered on the third floor, and we were almost like imprisoned there. And that is where we learned the beauty and art of the human body. This is the store of honor, the dissection hall, where we learned the structure of human body. And I still remember most of the bondings built up around this place. This is the anatomy museum, where we went after our classes to get our knowledge deeper.
This is a beautiful snap taken from the top of our basic building, looking so nice. This is all Sassoon Hospital, the campus inside. Look at the garden. This is the Department of Physiology.
I'm sure most of us developed our love for medicine because of the kind of teaching the physiology department did at that time.
The EMG that we used to do nowadays, now we are not doing, but you must be remembering those particular figures. So like, round drum used to move around.
Welcome to the Department of Pharmacology, where we learned the drugs and all the things. Welcome to Pathology Department on the first floor. The Pathology Department is one of the most advanced departments now in PJ, and we have all the modern facilities of diagnosis here.
This is the Department of Microbiology, and you must have heard during the COVID time, gene sequencing that was, after the NIT, gene sequencing was the study that was established here. One of the most important during the COVID era.
Friends, we all know as physicians, biochemistry department is very close to our heart, and as residents, we spend a lot of time there. The biochemistry department was recently renovated by through CSR, and we have the most modern equipment here. And I'm very glad to inform that we have practically all the investigations available here which we need in day-to-day management of our ward patients. The CCL is doing a fantastic job. Welcome, friends. The first step we put on the college side, this is the entrance of the Sassoon Hospital. This is the casualty entrance. Sassoon still caters to a large number of people. The casualty was renovated recently, and this is the new casualty renovated through CSR. This is a unique. Now this casualty is the one place where we have everything available under one roof. Ventilators, defibrillator, everything is there. It is almost like a small ICU, come casualty.
Round about 24-hour resident duty is always there, and SRs and lecturers whenever are required are visiting continuously. This is our OPD area, a rush that you might have noticed during your days. Same type of rush. In fact, the number has gone up as far as the OPD attendance is concerned, quite big one.
Well, now I think I'll take you to the most exciting place of our, where we spent most 3 years of our life, and that is the medicine OPD. If you see the board of the medicine OPD is still the same, what it used to be in our times, around 40 years back. The board has not changed, but when you come next time, you will see a renovated OPD also. So this is the medicine OPD, our dynamic residents who have taken over. Maybe the 48th generation from the time I was a resident. They were smiling, energetic medicine residents. The energy left by the teachers is still felt there. This is the professor's cabin where we sit in the OPD, our assistant professor. And we thought we will spend 15 seconds in the OPD for you to go back into memory lane.
This area is not witnessing only the routine OPDs, but the super specialty OPDs are also running. I am proud to tell you almost 9 super specialty OPDs are running in the afternoon every day.
I'm very proud to say that oncology work is being done at a very tremendous level in our hospital, and our dynamic oncologist Dr. Chakor Vora and his team are giving service to lot of patients of cancer.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Chatur Vola. I'm a medical oncologist. We started the cancer unit, the medical oncology unit at Sassoon General Hospital in August 2019. It's been a 4-year journey till now, and in these 4 years we have treated more than 5,500 cancer patients over here. We have the chemotherapy daycare unit, and over here we have given more than 21,000 chemotherapies, and with the blessings of our seniors and the entire medicine department, we are trying to expand the unit because there's more and more need for cancer patients to be treated over here. Thank you.
All the treatment is free and under NGP. Every patient is enrolled under NGP.
Under the national program, we have recently started the thyroid clinic where we screen patients with thyroid disorder.
This is the radio diagnosis unit, and lot many CTs, lot many MRIs, lot many X-rays are being done here. Almost 50 CTs and almost 30 MRIs are done here every day. And the MRI and CTs are all also free. Only MRI, sometimes we have to take help of the social services.
In the department, we have a special radio diagnosis wing for women, exclusively for diagnosis of, we have all facilities, mammographies and everything.
This is a new feature in our radiology department, international radiology. Lot many sophisticated procedures are now being done in this particular department. One of the important feature again in this institution is Jagrush Thalwai Trust is providing the free food to almost 1,250 patients admitted in the hospital. And food is of good quality, daily maintenance is there, and the taste that they are providing is like anything. It's very tasty food, and everybody enjoys. Daily, the charge is being maintained, and as per the need of the patient, diabetes, hypertension, the food is provided.
There are dietitians who plan the diet every day, so the food is made very nutritious. This is the office of our medical superintendent. The office is headed by Dr. Kiran Dadav, who is from the Department of Surgery. Welcome friends to the Department of Cardiology. The cath lab we started some years back. Karthik sir is here, Karandikar sir is here. It's doing phenomenal work. We are presently focusing on echos and angiography and angioplasties.
I cannot forget taking the name of Dr. K.G. Bhatia Madam, who has established this particular department.
Friends, this is the CVDS department, which is a backup for us, for our cath lab, and they are performing lot of bypass surgeries and other cardiac interventions. Welcome friends to MICU. I think this is one place which is very close to our hearts. You remember it was in 13th side room and how we used to struggle with the old ventilators and all, but now the MICU was renovated some years ago, and I'm very proud and glad to mention that we have all equipment available in the ICU, and we are trying to give the best possible critical care to the patients who are admitted to Sassoon Hospital. So we have 26 beds.
This is a dialysis unit, and in the dialysis we are doing almost 25 sittings in a day. We have almost enrollment of almost 300 people, dialysis patients who are taking this dialysis. Basically, we are catering these services to the acute need, those who are requiring acute need. We are not catering services to the maintenance or maintenance hemodialysis. We have here the renal transplant unit also, and I am proud to say that almost 23 renal transplants have been done here in this dialysis segment.
Our institute caters to HIV positive patients also, where their dialysis is done exclusively on separate machines in separate segments of dialysis. We also have dialysis machine for hepatitis B patients. We have a pre-transplant room where the patients are cared before they are actually taken for transplant. And after the transplant, they are shifted to the post-transplant room where the remaining follow-up care is given. Friends, under the leadership of Dr. Sheetal Marjani, we have started a liver transplant unit in Sassoon, and we have done 5 liver transplants. This is a place close to all of us. This is the resident quarters and the RQ mess, where we would crowd during lunchtime. And of course, the place is still full of energy, life, and we'll take back to our teens when you look at this canteen, the undergraduates and postgraduates crowding there. I'm very happy to mention that the RQ is now looked after by Shirish, who did a wonderful job during COVID time and gave food to residents when getting food outside was so difficult. So we thank you for that. Well, the board has not changed. It is still the same board which was there when you were residents, I suppose. So this is the resident quarters. I think some things should remain old so that they carry their glory. Well, we'll take it to the wards now.
This is ward number 13. Everybody must be having the remembrance of ward 13. On one side there was ICU, and then there was this 15 is good. And now what it was long back, now again we are starting ICU there of 20 bedded. What it used to be something like 10 bedded ICU, now we are making arrangement for 20 bedded ICU there.
Friends, let's move now to the corridor. We will take you to the corridor from block 13 to block 15. This is block 14. I think everybody will go back to memory lane, remembering their ward and the ward work there. Ward 18.
All these are now having wards are having the corporate group.
This is the Department of Medicine, 2 professors, 7 associates, 13 assistants, and moving 48 residents. So we are big now.
But still we have to fight for getting the assistant professor for NMC.
Block 15. I'm sure you'll enjoy the corporate look our wards have now.
Quite rush. You must have seen the patient lying on the ground floor. On the floor beds. Similar, same type of thing as also today pictures.
Well friends, welcome to the Department of Medicine. The board also has not changed. In the same board probably when all of you were there.
This is a new feature that is there in the Department of Medicine. We have started a national viral hepatitis control program, and under this, hepatitis B treatment, hepatitis C treatment is given free of cost. And almost 200 people already are taking treatment from this particular program.
You go down the memory lane when you enter the department. The department is under renovation now. So maybe next time when we meet, you will see a very posh, renovated department. And friends, now welcome to the chamber of the head of the department, the dynamic Dr. R.T. Bose. There are a lot of head of departments here who have actually shared this chair in the past. We cannot come up to that mark, but madam will try to do the best we can to keep the glory of the chair. Block 3 is now medicine ward again.
You might be remembering block 19 was the medicine ward, but now it is a block 3. So 13, 14, 15, 18 and block 3 are the medicine wards now.
This is a new addition to our Sassoon campus, the Infosys Super Specialty building. We are doing gastroenterology work here, we are doing neurosurgery work here, and plastic surgery. We also have a PET scan, which was started a year back here. This is our gastroenterology unit headed by Thorak sir. Dr. Adesh Andale is now doing pioneer work here, and we are doing a lot of scopies, banding, and ERCPs, etc.
Proud to tell, almost 300 procedures are done every month under the endoscopy unit.
He was very busy, so he didn't look at us when we were shooting the video. Friends, the AIT Center is the state-of-art AIT Center in Maharashtra and probably in the country. We provide first line, second line, third line therapy. We also have a SASN meeting. So thousands of HIV patients are getting benefit.
Was awarded a Center of Excellence 3 times in the past.
This is the new NICU which we are trying to show, the neonatal ICU. This is the beautiful 11-story building that is the latest addition to Sassoon campus. It started functioning during the COVID time. It used to be a COVID block. This is the beautiful lobby of the 11-story building, which is full of activity during daytime. All registrations and other offices run in this ground floor. Friends, the Department of Forensic Medicine has got a new building and it will shortly start functioning. So friends and teachers, I hope you have enjoyed this virtual tour of the college and hospital. Thank you very much.
Borse and Dr. Prasad.
I want all of you to notice this photo. The Department of Medicine received the Best Department Award during the Independence Day Award ceremony this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Borse and Dr. Prasad, for taking us down memory lane through nostalgia and also knowing that our department and our hospital is certainly looking ahead. Here I would like to mention our dynamic head of department, current head of Department of Medicine, Dr. Borse, sir, who is himself an alumnus of BJ Medical College, and under him this high-tech renovation of this hospital and the department is taking place. So thank you so much, sir. Now coming on to the next segment, our department has a rich history and its founding parents were eminent visionaries and eminent physicians. We are fortunate to have amongst us virtually one of these visionaries and legends in the field of medicine, Dr. G.S. Mutalik sir, who has been a very active member of our WhatsApp group. It is so true that age is just in fact a number. Sir, we are so blessed that you could take our time to send this recording to us. For this event, a very special one, I call upon Dr. Milind Phadke, my dear friend, onto the stage. Dr. Milind is, I think, no stranger to all of you in the WhatsApp group, right? So Milind is MD Medicine batch of 2002 to 5 under Dr. S.S. Amaya unit, and presently he is Professor of Cardiology and Consultant Cardiologist in NT Medical College, Sion, Mumbai. I hand over to Milind.
Good morning, respected senior teachers, Dr. R.S. Wadia sir, Dr. F.F. Wadia sir, Dr. Gulati sir, Dr. Subhash Kaya sir, Dr. Madhav Kale sir, Dr. Kazi sir, so many distinguished teachers and colleagues in this audience. It's a proud privilege to be asked to introduce the founding father of our department, and I really don't know whether I can do justice to distilling the essence of such a rich, productive life of 9.5 decades in the 3 or 4 minutes that are available to me. But I'll try to do my best. Dr. Mutalik sir, you all know, he's been on his group, his presence looms large in the group. And the whole thing started in 1929. Sir was born in a small village called Ailapur in Belgaum district in a Kannada family. And it was a small village, but he had big dreams and aspirations in which he was guided by his scholarly self-made father and inspired by his brother, who was a licentiate of our BJ Medical School. The young boy travelled to Pune, and as a young man, through the Ferguson College, he went into BJ Medical College. This was the batch of 1947, the year of our independence, and he was the second batch of BJMC. And he counts among his colleagues at that time Dr. Bhide, who went on to become the Dean of AIMS, and none other than our own late and very talented Dr. Sriram Lahu, who was his roommate for more than 1 year. Sir was a studious person, but he was also active in extracurricular activities, and he met his wife across the dissection table, and they had 48 years of blissful married life before Madam passed away in 2007. Now, a point came during Sir's MBBS days itself when he had a kind of epiphany, and he realized that his mission in life would be dedicated to medical education, the molding of future generations of medical students. And that early in his career, he dreamt of becoming the first professor of medicine in the department. He did his MD under Dr. Modi and Dr. Grant, and how he achieved this goal is his own story to tell. But let me say that his being the HOD at that time was a perfect fusion of man and mission. He was the right person in the right place at the right time. And the shape of the department that we see today owes its form and shape largely to the pioneering activities of Mutalik sir in the late 50s and early 60s. I mean, I will not just give you a bare bones enumeration of all his achievements, but 3 things. He founded a genetic society, he was one of the founder members of the Research Society of Sassoon, and he also founded the Journal of Western India. More will be talked about in the HOD section. Eventually, Sir became the Dean of the Institute in 1970, and impressed by his administrative acumen, the then Health Minister literally picked him up and posted him in the DMER. Within a year, he was the Director of Medical Education and Research, Maharashtra State, and his seminal work in malaria eradication in the rural districts of Thane brought party attention to the WHO. Then he worked in the WHO office at Delhi, then at Geneva, and then he was the head of the New York office of the WHO. And he did not end there. Later, after retiring from there in 1991, he became the CEO of an organization known as the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear Warfare. And that organization subsequently went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So this is the legacy of Sir. And after retirement now, in his own words, Sir is settled in Florida. He leads a yogic life. As we have all seen, he has not slowed down. Even an MI in the year 2019 has failed to deter him. And Sir reads, writes, he's writing new books, he's contemplating, and his special interests are epigenetics in the causation of disease and a fusion of the ancient sciences like Ayurveda with modern medicine to achieve a holistic thing for the patient. So I know it's been a long introduction, but we have seen so much of Sir on the group, so I felt I should say something. And at the end, I will just quote some lines of the poem which I am always reminded of when I think of Sir. The poem concerns a pilgrim who is going on a pilgrimage, and in the evening at twilight, he comes to a big castle, a void in the ground. And being an experienced person, he can easily cross this void in the dark light. But he doesn't go on his journey ahead. He turns back and he builds a bridge to span that chasm. And then the person who is next to him asks him, "Please, sir, you have built this bridge, but you have already finished your journey. You're going to go ahead, and most likely you're not going to come back on this path. So why are you wasting your time building this bridge?" So the answer of the pilgrim is what I am quoting. The pilgrim raised his old grey head. "My friend, on the path I have come," he said. "There falleth me after today a fair-headed youth who must pass this way. The castle which had no fears for me, for the fair-headed youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. My friend, I am building this bridge for you." So, this is, we especially of the younger generation are extremely fortunate. We are today walking on the bridges built by Sir and all his contemporaries sitting in the front row here. We hope we will prove worthy of this legacy and we are able to carry this torch forward. And I know it has been a long introduction, but it has been about an extraordinarily brilliant individual. And ladies and gentlemen, senior teachers, I present to you in his own words the story of his life, our beloved Kaka, Dr. Gururaj Srinivas Sultan. Thank you.
I moderated today at the informal pre-conference get-together, Dr. Shashi Sangle, with your caring leadership and incredible team of Milind, Vaishali and a growing dedicated group, you have done some remarkable work in archaeology of medicine department, digging into the treasure of the past, and you have researched and reconstructed the growth and development of the Department of Medicine and our alma mater with help of Dr. Kale. I was discovered sometime in that digging. A happy ancestor to reclaim his brilliant successors and their students, and my own extended family, and of Dr. Hosi Tamodi, a friend and a leading cardiologist in Florida. That's how I am here to address you this morning. I next wish to warmly greet some of the heads of the department who are present here, who followed me. A series of them added their own genius to build on what they inherited in shaping Vijay medicine in a continuing march of progress. I want to greet Rajani Amin, whom I know she is not there. Greetings to Dr. Kakrani, Dr. Kadam, Dr. Shashi Sangle, and the present head, Dr. Bose. I must greet my own team. Dr. Vadia is here, a brilliant student, an extraordinary neurologist today, leading and guru of many of you, my very right hand of my times, along with Dr. Ravi Gulati, another right hand, a cardiologist of distinction, whom I had the privilege of mentoring both of these, and Dr. Subhash Kale, who will follow me. Many of you have known him for a long time, as a senior physician, and others too many to be named. Greetings from Florida. inspired by your energy and perseverance of developing and organizing this vibrant body of extraordinary organization at BJ Medicine. Destiny has played a role in using me as an instrument who gave everything I had to establish this department for more than 10 years in our alma mater. I now would like to share with you some thoughts on a subject I have chosen for this address. It was originally named as Quo Vadis Medicine, but I left outdated Greek. Now it means whither thou goeth modern medicine. What direction are you taking? The past, present and the future of modern medicine based on my own perspective of 75 years of my uninterrupted romance with medicine in my life. Let's start with Hippocrates. Hippocrates, who lived in Greece 4 centuries before Christian era, is rightly called the father of modern medicine. He was a profound visionary, and modern medicine was born out of his great wisdom and vision. It had a human base. The patient was its prime subject and hero, first, middle, and always. His writings and aphorisms show clearly that the raison d'etre, the quintessential purpose for which medicine exists, is to cure a patient's disease if they can, arrest its progress, and to reduce his or her pain and suffering. He laid down a golden rule for practice of medicine, primum non nocere. First of all, do no harm. The rule eternally and universally is valid. He said famously, the best medicine is administered through the patient's ear, meaning pouring compassion, caring and empathy, speaking to him with conviction, but as his physician creating hope and self-belief that will be the mainspring of healing. Another teaching of his was the importance he gave to food by saying food is medicine and medicine is food. Thus, he also laid the groundbreaking in consonance with today's groundbreaking teachings. He was ahead of his time of today's genomic and epigenomic biomedical scientists, what they are teaching. What is now emerging as new functional medicine, the main secret of staying young while growing old and fighting chronic diseases at their cause level, based on breathtaking discoveries of the last 10 years, which have earned many Nobel Prizes for scientists. These discoveries will impact medicine of immediate tomorrow to maybe to eliminate certain negative effects of today and tomorrow's super specialization and realign fragmented medicine towards somewhat holistic approaches. But that's a different story, and if destiny permits again, I shall discuss with you at your main conference in March 24 in person or live, depending on many factors. Medicine then was an unfragmented and holistic, totally holistic. Hippocrates knew all about powerful healing power of nature, and that medicine's prime mission was to facilitate and boost and unleash the built-in power of human body to heal itself. It's more important, he wrote, in any medieval style, to know what sort of person has a disease than to know what sort of disease a person has. A profound philosophical paradigm. Claudius Galen came next. He was a Greek physician, followed Hippocrates. He was very impressed by Hippocrates, but he was 4 centuries later, and he lived in the beginning of the Christian era. He improved on Hippocratic medicine by his insights. As a powerful writer, he wrote with such force and vigor and authority. Fast forward to 1947, to when I joined PJMC. It was a momentous golden era in India, the year of India's independence from British colonial rule. On the midnight of August 15, we heard the scintillating address of Jawaharlal Nehru, free India's first Prime Minister. He began his historical address to the nation and the world by referring to a tryst-with destiny of the nation and its redemption of a pledge of the nation to a new era of freedom from foreign rule. We too made a pledge to contribute all our energies and our humble might to make BJMC a great institution of medical education. Out of that pledge, eventually, a full-time department of medicine was born. It was also a realization of my life's ambition and dream. Now, this is a good time to digress a little, to tell you in brief what I call as the prenatal history of conception of the birth of the star on my firmament, a full-time department of medicine. I should pursue a postgraduate degree in medicine was a resolve dinned into my consciousness by my father and my elder brother, who was also a doctor, who became a doctor, who took over my father's Ayurvedic dispensary at my native village and established a modern medical one after his licentiate degree at BJ Medical School that closed in 1946 when the first batch was admitted after upgradation to a medical college. He used to tell me while I was in the college all about his Pune Medical School, further increasing my resolve. He once arranged a tour of the old Sassoon Hospital for me, which was known as the European ward and later on became the pediatric ward of the college. This was somewhere in 1944 when I was the first year science student at the college. I had never seen anything like that time, and thus I renewed my resolve to study at Pune for being my own medical career. In Ferguson College, I was overwhelmed with excitement and yearning to be a teacher in a medical college after listening to some of my professors in Ferguson College and their dazzling mastery over the subject. Their spellbinding way of teaching. R.N. Joshi, our mathematics professor, always came with wearing a dhoti and a red pagdi of Peshwa style, taught us the math, and it appeared to me as if he is teaching music. Dr. Shirone was a fantastic, awe-inspiring professor in zoology. There were others. Science. If in this uplifted frame of my mind to be a teacher, something like them, I passed my inter-science in flying colors and was admitted to BJ Medical College with the first 5 students as the second batch, 1947. My parents and brother were overjoyed in the celebration that involved the entire village. When I entered the medical wards at the beginning of the last 3 years of my as a student of medical college, I found there were no professors in the clinical department, but only visiting honoraries. They were good clinicians, and they were very kind-hearted, and they were good to students, but they were only part-time practicing doctors in the town with a successful BC practice. They spent less than 2 hours every day in the hospital in just taking rounds and taking a few bedside clinics. And this was another disappointment for me, not because I was banking on being a professor in the college later, but this was not my idea of teaching and building an expanding discipline of medicine in a college. One day, I went to see a man who was the chief administrator in the principal's office, a well-Mr. Sheikh, and he was always good to students. He made me sit down in his office and asked, "What can I do for you, Mr. Mutali?" I said, I want to be a professor of medicine, and there are no opening seems to be there. There are only honoraries. Is there any prospects of of post coming full time? He laughed at me. He said, Mr. Mudali, you are still a student for 2 years to go for your MD. Why do you worry about the future? No, there is no prospects. I don't want to tell you false home, but this is not appear to be happening in our college. So I came back crestfallen, slightly depressed, and I did exactly as I advised. I forgot all about it, and then studied for the next 2 years. I knew Dr. Dixit, a wonderful principal, a great scientist who taught us physiology. And because I was a debating secretary in the college and the college chess champion for a short time, of course I knew Dr. Desai also, who taught us anatomy, and both of them had a special liking to me and they were extremely kind. One day I met Dr. Dixit on some college matters. At the end of my official meeting, I asked him, sir, there is something in my mind, can I take a few more minutes of your time? He used to call me Raj. He said, Raj, what can I do for you? He said, I stammered, and sir, I said, eventually, I want to be a professor of medicine one day, and there seemed to be no full-time post in clinical subjects. Are there any government plans, sir? He laughed. He also laughed loudly. For a fourth year student, this is a high ambition, Raj, but it is admirable. You know, since you have such burning ambition inside you, it will happen one day. I won't worry about it. But it's not in my hand. I just work indirectly, throwing a suggestion here and there, and Dr. Gilder, who is very determined to run his health department with maximum economy, and if I get a chance, I will throw a hint, a seed perhaps. But I agree with you that development of clinical sciences, such a post as professor full-time is necessary. I again returned a few months before the MD exam. I accidentally ran into Mr. Sheikh, the college administrator, and he said, hey, Mutali, I have good news for you. Government is entertaining a proposal Dr. Dixit discussed with the Surgeon General, and after consideration, they agreed to create, at least to recommend creation of one post of assistant professor of medicine in the current 5-year plan. It will take time. Wish you all the best in your MD. And I went back, I was bubbling with optimism. I got my MD in 1955 under Dr. Grant, and then temporarily joined Vijay Medical College as a demonstrator in the Department of Anatomy under Dr. B.M. Desai. And for 6 months, when this post of assistant physician materialized, I changed the corridors of Vijay Medical College for the corridors of Sassoon Hospital. I went on merrily on the hospital side and assumed full-time post of an assistant physician attached to Dr. Grant's unit, who had replaced Dr. M.S.H. Modi. This was the moment of birth for the full-time Department of Medicine. 3 years passed, and my hope still alive in 1979. Out of blue came announcement of a post of Professor of Medicine. Apply for this. I went to the dean's office, the principal's office, and I rushed an application form and went to see Dr. B.L. Desai. I addressed the application form to Surgeon General through the principal, none other than the inimitable Dr. Desai, equal him in his eloquence in teaching this dead subject of anatomy. But Dr. Desai, when he took over as principal, he was rather conservative, always afraid of superiors and what they will do. And he took my application, had a look at it, and said, Dr. Mudalik, you will make a good professor, but I am afraid you are so junior. You learned medicine under these powerful 3 honoraries as your teachers. This post involves you being their supervisor. How will you manage? Let some years pass. When you are senior enough, let us do it. I was crushed. I learned later that he did not immediately forward the application, but for some time later, he called Dr. Dixit, the Surgeon General. By that time, Dr. Dixit had gone there, and asked him what he should do. Dr. Dixit was straightforward. He said, Mutalik, I know him. If anybody can build a department, he will do it. If he fulfills all the requirements called for in this post, there is no reason why we should not proceed his application. Do whatever you think right, and with your appropriate recommendations, and send his application to my office, and government will decide one way or the other. Then a day dawned when I received the news that I am appointed as an officiating professor of medicine and head of the department. The year was 1959. A village boy had fulfilled his life's ambition by the mysterious play of destiny. In the next 10 years, the department grew rapidly. I will not spend much time to dilate as an autobiographical record which I dislike, but I will just show you a slide which enumerates what all was done under my watch. And thus started the Department of Medicine, and my joy knew no bounds. I put heart and soul in everything I had in developing the department, and the rest is Dr. Kale's story. I have now come at my final episode, the present, the early future, and tomorrow's medicine, and I shall also include in that far ahead future of medicine if I can, today, and a peep into the inscrutable future of medicine tomorrow. I will wind up then with a few reflections of my own, connecting your dreams with my dreams. Today's medicine. In my reflections, I follow what some of you are discussing brilliantly in your talk, in your conversations on various medical issues, in day-to-day dialogue. But this is not modern medicine in America. This is yesterday's medicine, and very early morning medicine, if you will. In this temporal journey of mine, a little gap between east and west appears like an expanding universe speed, trends taking us years away on what I see here. It's all in favor of you, I assure you. American medicine, which is a pacemaker for the rest of the world, and highest level medicine of skill, technology, and science is a little more advanced, if not in content, at least in the form of practice, where Hippocratic medicine surely and certainly receding towards slow death, a tragedy of unimaginable proportion to people like us, old-timers. Today, medical practice in America is like a conveyor belt productive business run by current business practices, where all little fishes are gobbled up and absorbed, and the group practices are taken over by companies whose sole objective is profit and give practicing doctors a major cut for they prescribe how many patients a doctor must see every day. This leads to what I described just now as a conveyor belt phenomenon. A patient first waits at the reception an average of 45 minutes to 1 hour when the doctor is finishing the last patient, and then spends 20 minutes inside the examination room for of which the doctor spends a mere 8 to 10 minutes with his patients before the patient collects at the reception desk a prescription for at least 4 to 6 drugs, which have all major effects to treat the symptoms for which suffering from, which paved the way for more chromatin dystrophy at cellular level and more chronic diseases liability to the patient. Super specialization. Super specialization is the ultimate aim of an average brilliant medical student in US. There is a lot of personal satisfaction in reaching the highest rung of ladder, in knowing a branch of medicine and master it thoroughly. And of course, such a doctor benefits everybody. Nobody denies that. Every patient suffering from the area of that specialty, often dealing with symptoms of an obscure disease without touching the cause. And that is the real tragedy. The cause remains, symptoms are treated. The real trouble arises when you reach a level of specialization, when your cranium is filled with knowledge of only one super specialty and nothing else. You have succeeded in eradicating the holistic approaches from your life. The right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. Nay, the index finger does not know what the middle finger is doing. And then it is a serious trouble for patients. Whatever the patient is suffering from, you then tend to find a disease or a syndrome in your domain. And that is a killer phenomenon. But the doctor's perception is different. He derives immense pride and satisfaction from his encounter, cemented by a fat fee too. I personally escaped from the jaws of death from such a situation in the early 2000s. Let me spend some time in relating to it. A bad and progressive backache was crippling me from day to day when I had just retired my last assignment as CEO of IPPNW in the early 2000s. I was part of the time in Pune in India. I saw at least 3 orthopedic surgeons, reputed ones. 2 of them my students who treated me as VIP very kindly, spent a lot of time with all kinds of investigations. No avail. I went to USA. My family physician directed me to see a spine specialist, a super specialty of orthopedics. After a cursory examination and inattentiveness to my history, he ordered an MRI of lower spine. This was the 4th time. I was 72 years old, almost visibly losing strength in my lower limbs by that time. MRI showed multiple disc disease as expected, slight narrowing of sacral canal. I had no bladder symptoms at all. He jumped to the conclusion that narrow sacral canal was the cause of all my symptoms. He advised an urgent sacral laminectomy to relieve pressure of compression, and without any hesitation said, we must do that as soon as possible, and set up 3 days ahead, fixed an operation theatre from the first encounter, but he was the head of the department. Who he was no ordinary specialist. He was the head of the department of Yale Medical School, one of the finest hospitals in the world, and was ranked amongst the peers at the top of the heap. I went home and expressed my disagreement with the diagnosis as well as treatment and told my son to leave. He was then a imaged scientist of great repute at Yale. The family verdict was that this surgeon is the very best available, and Kaka is an old retired physician. As such, he should act as a patient and not his own doctor. I always had a streak of headstrongness, termed obstinacy, and self-belief. I refused to be operated, and because I had worked as a professor of BJ Medical College, I said I have a ring of paresthesia with some anesthesia all along my umbilical plane, and whatever is damaging me is at the higher level, and these facilitate by persuading the radiology department urgently to take a MRI at T10 level. He agreed kindly and secured an appointment the very next day. He agreed. After MRI, almost within minutes he rushed in and told me, Kaka, you are right. There is a tumor of a small size, extramedullary and intradural, most probably a schwannoma. Well, after 6 hours surgery this time, by another top level surgeon, this time a neurosurgeon, Dr. Pietmeyer, the tumor was removed after 6-hour surgery. The tumor was removed and I made an uneventful recovery and they evolved within 3 months. Take home lesson, the super specialties in orthopedics had forgotten the basic clinical medicine through thorough history taking, a complete physical examination. Even now I find that family physicians in America do a thorough physical examination only once in a year. Hippocrates is turning in his grave. I am pleased that in your discussions, you still have a lot of holistic base, still talk about clinical medicine as judged by academic conversation. But no country will escape eventually the powerful spreading stain and influence of the trends from the West. Medicine today is held hostage from an inexorable mighty power of the drug industry and its multi-billion lobbying in government on television and government and lobbying by powerful legislators. American TV at all times and all channels is full of ads like such and such drug. Ask your doctor whether it is suitable for you. And then there is a very small side effect, including sometimes certain death. And then it says, report to your doctor urgently if this happens. Now I don't know how in certain death cases patients will be able to communicate with the doctors. For you and other equally strong forces, for America, insurance companies, growing fragmentation of knowledge, loss of holistic approach in medicine, and these inexorable forces have pushed specialities in frenzy of a flying juggernaut, where patient and his prime place and center of subject is totally lost. Money drives medicine, and the doctor's practice is for wealth accumulation and self-satisfaction. Patient comes a distant third. This is the direction of today's and tomorrow's medicine. Integrated medical approach through genomics and epigenomics at the very cause of disease level is based on Nobel Prize winning work in recent years. Is theoretically, it could realign this trend, but it is too feeble and it's confined only to centers of excellence as Harvard, Cleveland Clinic, UCLA, Columbia and Johns Hopkins and Stanford and some other top universities and a few departments there too where some doctors champion this change. And that it can stop theoretically this juggernaut of today's medicine, realign medicine to Buddhism and less fragmentation. What of the day after tomorrow? Future. Where will medicine go? Well, we can only guess. Future is inscrutable. It's a curtain beyond which we cannot see. Anything is possible in this technological age. Two equally mighty forces will alternate and may take medicine to yet another direction, namely computer learning and artificial intelligence. Robotic medicine may take place of human physicians away from the more accurate diagnosis and order treatment at cellular level. Telemedicine, or correctly, iPhone medicine may rule the roost. In the meanwhile, longevity may extend and over 100 years and bring in social and economic changes in society well beyond imagination. And what will that will bring the society and its demands and products, nobody can actually forecast. So, a brave new world is in the offing. Well, here I will stop as I have exhausted my time nearly. I am sorry if I sounded a little pessimistic, but I am an incurable of common sense and little holism. And someone said in your conversation, natural stupidity of humans and artificial intelligence combined may ruin our possible bright future. Beware of that. Be our guardian angels of future generations. It has been great fun for me and filled my cup of happiness to address you. Before I close, I recognize and greet two great personalities of BJ Medical College. First, Chittaranjan Yadnik. You have already played in the conversation here for being the worldwide recognized and honored specialist who has bring credit to BJ Medical College, to KM Hospital, and to himself. We have as much to do with each other. Destiny chose me, in his case, to act as a daredevil hospital superintendent, to contribute towards saving his life by signing a consent form as a local guardian for a desperate operation at Sassoon with advanced peritonitis due to a burst appendix. Against express will of a very pious father who wanted to take him home without operation, put a tulsi dal and Ganga jal on his mouth and let him go. He was snatched from the jaws of death by Mrs. Mehta's skill and perseverance. He was the supreme professor of surgery, and he grew, he lived and became a world-recognized diabetic scientist, honored by one of the greatest universities in the West. I am grateful for God for even if the process, my own career would have been lost had his father given a police complaint. Second, my friend Vinod Shah and his million-volt personalities, their achievement of worldwide acclaimed work, charitable work in the cause of rural health, in particular for aged, disabled and homeless destitute. Welcome Dr. Shah. God bless them all and bless all of you. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Friends, I am really very happy to be associated with Dr. Mudali sir. When he came to Pune at age 75, I was addressing my session in one garden on healthy aging, and he stand behind me and he was doing like this. So I just saw who is he. So he was none but Dr. Mudali sir. I was shocked, and then he heard that speech and he said that now doctor, I would like to get associated with your work. And since then, for 20 years, he is associated with us. And we did a lot of research things, including Duke's University, including Public Health of India, including Healthy India Alliance, and of course with WHO, United Nations, and wherever I was there, Mudali sir used to accompany us. Recently, when I attended United Nations meeting on 31st of this May, he came to see me at New York and New Jersey on 1st of June. And then he said, I am going to stay with you. Me and my wife. So we were staying with one of our friends home. Then he stayed with us. We really enjoyed. I have sent you because I arranged few meetings for the seniors in New York and New Jersey. And to my surprise, that film, Dr. Mutaji addressed on Young Forever. And just I have sent that part of this. All of you just see, at the age of 95, how can one person, just now we saw that 45 almost, because he was a professor. So I told my colleague that he will take another 40-45 minutes from me. And he took that. But without interrupting, without taking water, without nothing, he was just talking. So hats up to sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good morning everybody. I'm now person to talk about match Vinod's achievements. But I still remember that dark day in my life when sir in his green pen signed that consent on my paper, which allowed Mrs. Mehta to drain a subtraining access, later on to pelvic accesses. Otherwise, she said he is going to die in 24 hours. So that was a turning event in my life. Sir was actually, introduced to me by Dr. D.D. Desai when I was a first year student, because I was interested in genetics. I had actually let my medical attention go for 2 years to learn molecular biology. And then later on, when I realized India was no place for molecular biology in 1970, I took the medicine. Sir called me and gave me the annual review of genetics. I think it was volume number 6 to read. And after 2 weeks, called me to say, he summarized the 3rd chapter. So I just wanted to make sure that I read it. And then when I actually did it, that was related to ribosome cycle. I don't know how many of you are in this field, but the initiator codon for all proteins is AUG, which codes for an amino acid methionine. So methionine is the initiator amino acid for all the proteins. It's the irony of my fate that methionine demethylated is homocysteine. And last 30 years I have contributed to vitamin B12, 1-carbon metabolism, homocysteine, fetal programming, and origins of diabetes. The circle is completed. I am going to speak a few sentences later on when so you allow me, but this was what I wanted to dedicate to sir, that chapter on ribosome cycle, initiator codon, methionine, and 50 years later, homocysteine, 1-carbon metabolism, B12 deficiency, and intrauterine programming for diabetes. Sir, I don't know who is listening to us, but pranam, and I'll be in touch with you. As soon as the WhatsApp group opened, he wrote to me, you remember our special relationship, who can forget it? And Mrs. Mukta Madali was our receptor. And that's how we had a kitchen entry into the Dean's bungalow. So when I was admitted with all that illness, every day morning, my tea and breakfast came from Dean's bungalow. So I had a very special privilege. And thank you once again, sir. Long live, and I'll come and see you.
For inspiring so many lives, and we look forward and look up to you for many more such inspiring talks. So now we move on to our second talk of the day, and we have another stalwart from the field of medicine, Dr. S. Kawal sir. And to introduce him, I would like to invite my friend, Dr. Ashwini Joshi. She's an eminent so she is an eminent diabetologist and physician at Hospital, and she is very passionate about diabetes care. She's working at Joshi Diabetes Center and Aloha Clinic, and she also practices at Goa and Private Clinic. She's also associated with the NGO called Popular Body, and she's into a lot of diabetes activities in the city of Pune. So over to you.
Good morning, respected teachers, my colleagues and friends. It's an honor today to introduce Dr. Subhash Kale sir. I was into conversation with him for this purpose for almost more than 2 hours, and there are lots of things to share, but he has insisted I keep it very, very short. From the conversations, what I learned is he is the student of 1956 BJMC MBBS admission, which is almost 40 years senior to me. And he completed his MD in 1965. There is a very special case of his admission batch, which I am sure he is going to share in his talk. Later, he was the honorary AP at BJMC till 1992, when he took voluntary retirement. And side by side, during his long career, he was one of the 7 founder trustees of the Maharashtra Medical Foundation's Joshi Hospital, where I had been to see him, and he was busy sitting in his clinic, still seeing a lot of patients. That was very inspiring, sir. He has also worked as Vice President at the Diabetes Association of India, which takes care of a lot of diabetes underprivileged patients. He has also helped in setting up the diabetes clinic at Sassoon General Hospital. The conversation with him was indeed very inspiring, and we all are eagerly waiting to listen to his life story during BJMC as well as Sassoon Hospital. So I welcome Dr. Subhash Kale sir on stage.
Good morning. First, a small correction. Thank you Ashwini for a very good introduction, but this is not my life story. As Dr. Mutalik said, I have done some archaeological work, and I am going into the history of medicine department. Today I am filled with nostalgia as well as humility. Nostalgia because I first came to this hall in 1955, before I became a medical student. Only I think Madhav Kale and R.S. Vaidya was the third year at that time, were sitting in this hall, and my senior friend D.B. Shiroy, Ram Shiroy, who later on became the pediatrician, and C.J. Mistry, who later became the professor of medicine. They were in the 4th year. They said, please come this day. That was March 1955. I stood in a crowd somewhere there at the back. And imagine who was speaking from the dais. Sir Alexander Fleming. He gave a talk on the penicillin story. Then, after that, my journey began in 1956. And my second memory of this stage is when Vinu Shah's elder sister, who was my classmate, both of us acted in a drama, Katraki Akre, called Brahma's Bhoga. We were on this stage and we received nothing but paper arrows and going. Today I am sure I will not get any of those, because since you are invited me to talk. Now we just now heard Professor Mutalik. Those of you who saw him the first time, or you heard it the first time, will realize what made him an outstanding teacher and outstanding professor, as well as a good human being. With command over English, with English literature, history of medicine and so on. And he has sponsored us about the direction medicine is taking. And once again, consider us to go back to holistic medicine and non-fragmented medicine. First language. I now proceed with the history of medicine, and about this history I am dealing only with men and women, mostly men, who walk the corridors of BSc Medical College Medicine Department in Social Hospital. My sources are these three books. The first one is written by Dr. Dhadbare, Sheetal's grandfather. He graduated from BSc Medical School sometime in 1918, and he was a person. This book has been compiled by Sheetal's father, Dr. D.G. Dhadbare, who was my contemporary in medical college. And this book contains notes of his work in Sassoon Hospital. He was not a teacher, but he was working in Sassoon Hospital in those days when Mahatma Gandhi was operated. You heard a lot about it on 2nd of October, what happened and so on. He describes in that how he came and how Mahatma Gandhi was operated and so on. And he also writes about BSc Medical School and Sassoon Hospital. I quote from that those notes of Sheetal's grandfather in 1923. He says, ससून हॉस्पिटल जोडून असलेल्या बैरामजी जेजुबाई मेडिकल स्कूलचे विद्यार्थी बहुसंख्य धोतर नेसलेले असत. त्यावर शर्ट, आखून कोट, डोक्यावरची काळी टोपी असेल आणि पायामध्ये लाल पुढेरी जोडा असेल. हिंदी वर्सेस नऊवारी कासोल्याची पांढरी पातळी नेसत. मनगटावर पाया असलेले कोलकी वापरी आणि त्यांच्याही पायात पुणेरी लाल जोडे असत. The second book is by Dr. C.N. Chandrachud, the second honorary physician in the BSc Medical College. Now, he comes from a distinguished family in Pune, Chandrachud family, which has given us 2 Chief Justices to India. His book is worth reading because it deals with medicine as Maharashtra from 1920 to 1965. And he has a lot to say about Medical Council of India and University of Pune, honoraries and full-time teachers and so on. But unfortunately, this is the only copy available. I have been 16 pages missing. So I want to make an appeal to you. If you can get another copy of this, those intact 16 pages, I would like to have it. This is not available in any of the libraries in Pune or any of the senior physicians I contacted. The third book is given to me by Ajit Bhagwat, noted cardiologist of Aurangabad. This is written by his father, who also comes from another distinguished family of Pune. He was 2 years junior to Dr. G.S. Putali. This is an autobiographical book. He writes about his life in Pune, in BSc Medical College, and then his encounters with politicians and the full-time workers. He is very candid about it. And I don't know whether it's disgust or disappointment, he left voluntary retirement and set up one of the best hospitals in Aurangabad, the Kumar Bajaj Memorial Hospital. I must mention, I have given the acknowledgements to those who have helped me collecting this material. Vinod Shah posted the first photographs of Dr. Butali on our WhatsApp group, and Bhushan Kamburi was instrumental in giving me some information about the well-known Modi family. Next. I'm sure most of you have seen most of these films with photos, so I will not go into that. But let me tell you that the names of Sassoon Hospital and BSc Medical College are there not just because they gave money or invested money to these institutions, but they took interest in how to build these buildings, how to develop in various departments. And both these gentlemen, that is why I think, I hope, perpetually these names shall remain and will not be changed in future. In 1967, the centenary of Sassoon Hospital was celebrated, and at that time, this auditorium, which was earlier known as Assembly Hall, was renamed MG Auditorium. And Sassoon Hospital building that you see is now become famous for Mahatma Gandhi's appendix operation. But it should be famous for 2 more reasons.
I think the old skin bleeding OPD and the tuberculosis OPD is no more just demolished. There was a plaque saying that Avatar Meher Baba of Ahmedabad was born here. So that is one notable person born in Sassoon Hospital. And another notable birth which took place in 1935 was Rustum Surab Wadia. He was born in Sassoon Hospital. Right? Now, on the right side, that cricket team that you see is sitting in front of what was once BC Medical School. I could not get a photo earlier than this. This photo was taken in 1956 when my batch in first year and Madhav Bhai's batch in second year played a friendly cricket match. So some of you can spot Philly Karani there, who became national badminton champion. There is Subhash Patki also in that group, who played cricket for in the Ranji Trophy. But the main point is this building initially was the BJ Medical School established 1978. In 1946, when BJ Medical College was formed, this became the anatomy lecture hall. The anatomy lecture hall became the badminton hall. The two rooms on the side became table tennis rooms. So that we still exist at it. At the bottom, you see the BJ Medical College corner store. I knew it existed somewhere, but I had great difficulty finding it. I came here in September, but finally, Dr. Neha Suryavanshi helped me, and Dr. Borse, as well as Dr. Harish Tatia. These three, they hunted. I said, there is a corner store, and it was covered by mud and some plants hiding behind all these things. So, let us basically this building, Sassoon Hospital and BJ Medical College. Next please. This photo is of a house built sometime in 1900. Many of you will know that I think Thousand Oaks restaurant. This is opposite Thousand Oaks, and this photo was taken in 2011. This house has given us 3 generations of physicians to Pune. The first one was Sorabji Purnusji Modi, an HCPS from BJ Medical School, and there are mentions in various books that he treated plague epidemic in 1890 in 4 separate enclosures: Hindus, Muslims, Parsis, and special ones for the British people. This reference has been found in many of the stories that you read about old Pune. Sorabji Modi sent his son Manekji to UK for his education, and he learned his medicine from the London School of Tropical Medicine, which was founded in 1899. He got his MRCP and came back to Pune in 1923 and set up his practice on Main Street. That is the same place where later on his son, Sam, or Sammy Modi, practiced in 70s. So this family has given us 3 Modis, physicians, and later 2 Modis in honor of their ancestors. They use 3 abbreviations, MSH Modi and SMS Modi from Jail Bihar. Unfortunately, this house does not exist anymore. Next please. In the story of Sassoon Hospital and Mahatma Gandhi, you find the mention of Colonel Maddox, who was at the Gandhi's appendix surgery, and you find a lot of reference about him in those descriptions. But Dr. Mukherjee referred to Dr. B.B. Dixit, the first principal of BJ Medical College. He was professor of physiology. Later on, in those times, what was called a Surgeon General, nowadays called DMER. And later on, he went on to become the first director of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I had the privilege of meeting him and looking after him when he lived in Pune his last years in Shivaji Housing Society. About Dr. M.S.H. Modi. About Dr. M.S.H. Modi, in Dr. Chandrachu's book, he writes, Dr. M.S.H. Modi was an honorary physician and lecturer in medicine at the BJ Medical School. A person of sound and apparent professional knowledge, Dr. Modi had an ideal method of keeping a record of cases, and I do not know any practitioner who kept such up-to-date records. He is a keen lover of sports
And because of his morning preoccupation with sports and horses, he was rather late in arriving at the hospital. But he is always the last person to leave the hospital after finishing his work. He wrote his notes in his own hands and did not leave it to his associates. Next please. This photo is, I am showing this photo only to show this is taken 13 years after the retirement of Dr. M.S.H. Modi, and this shows close association with PSA Medical College and close association of Pune medical fraternity with what was established by Pune Medical Society. They used to hold monthly meetings, and you can see Professor Mukherjee here. Then Dr. Modi is of course there. On his left is the Dr. Mendoza at that time, and two persons from the Department of Medicine, Dr. C.Z. Mistry, the second professor, and S.S. Kare, who was the honorary associate at that time. Others are leading NCPS practitioners in town who make it a point to attend these meetings. On extreme left is the first dermatologist of Pune, Arvind Lomkar. Standing second from the left is S.D. Sathe, who passed out with his MBBS sometime in 1959 and did his MD medicine 10 years later, but still continued to practice his family medicine. Thus, Dr. M.S.H. Modi was an iconic figure not only in BZ and Sassoon, but in the city of Pune at that time. Next. Next slide. Dr. C.M. Chandrachud was the second honorary physician to be appointed. He did his MBBS from Grand Medical College, went to UK, did his MRCP, he came back to India and joined government service, what was called at that time Indian Medical Service. It was sort of a uniformed doctors at that time. He worked in various places like Delhi and Rawalpindi, but in 1922 he resigned to come to Pune and joined BZ Medical School at that time. And in his book, that Memories of an Indian Doctor, he describes his life in Pune. From 1932 to 1947, 15 continuous years, he was the chairman of the Committee of Annual Social Gathering of BZ Medical School. On the right is Dr. P.S. Deshmukh, the third person of that time. He also went to England, came back with an DTMH. And I'm sure in the audience, Dr. Wadia, Madhav Bhai and I have done his first or second medical terms in his unit. But unfortunately, he passed away in 1955 by he was an honor. I remember him coming to the hospital with a gandha on his forehead, and when his practice was when he entered the ward, we used to greet him with good morning. He said, no, you say inspection palpation. I will say percussion auscultation. That was the stress on clinical examination. Dr. Arvind Bhagwat, the second MD of Pune to pass out from BZ Medical College, writes about Dr. P.L. Deshmukh. Dr. P.L. Deshmukh यांच्या युनिटला 3 महिने पोस्टिंग असलेल्या विद्यार्थ्यांची देशमुख सर दर महिन्याला एक छोटी चाचणी घेऊन मार्क द्यायचे. तिन्ही चाचण्यांमधून पहिल्या येणाऱ्याला काहीतरी बक्षीस मिळायचे. मी डॉक्टर आरबी भागवत त्यांच्याकडे टर्म देत असताना टर्म संपल्यानंतर जीवन रेस्टॉरंटमध्ये पार्टी झाली. तिथे देशमुख सरांनी निकाल सांगितला. मी पहिला आलो होतो. सरांनी खिशातून एक पुडी काढली, ती हळूहळू उघडली, तिच्यातून एक सुवर्ण पदक काढलं आणि माझं अभिनंदन करून माझ्या छातीवर लावलं. The photo has been taken by me last month in Sadashivpet area, which is called Deshmukhwadi. That pillar, his house, Jayashri, his bungalow was there, but bungalow is of course not there now. The pillar is there, and his nameplate is still there intact. Next. Now here I will bring you a little update from these 3 units which were earlier, most of us knew these as medical unit A, B and C, and what was their progress in subsequent generations. Before that, let me tell you a little bit of the nomenclature. Earlier, these honoraries were called honorary professor and honorary assistant professor. Later on, they started to be called as honorary professor of medicine, honorary associate professor of medicine. And in this, I want to highlight 2 or 3 points. Actually, MSH Modi's Unit A is the parent unit, one can say. And you can see 4 names italics under that. Mutali, Bhagwat and Sizli Mistri. They initially took full-time jobs as assistant physician. They work in Dr. Grant's unit. That asterisk indicates those who became full-timers later on. Then they switched over to full-timers. Dr. M.K. Kalani did only 6 months in Dr. Grant's unit and switched over to chest physician, became a chest physician man. The underlying names, they indicate consultants who later on became head of unit. Dr. S.P. Gokhale, Dr. A.C. Patki, they eventually became heads of units. Similarly, in block 14, right, and the left side was Dr. Suez unit, the right side was Dr. Prayag's unit. You will see at the extreme right, Dr. H.G. Bhatia and Dr. P.D. Mitra, the full-timers with the red asterisk, becoming head of the unit. Here, what Dr. Mutali described as some doubt about an honorary becoming a good teacher or not, but at that time the government has started a policy when a post becomes vacant of an honorary position, appoint a full-timer. I am not going into the controversy of this, but this is what happened, and subsequently there were either some hybrid units or subsequently all units became full-time. Dr. Bhagwat writes quite a lot about this in his autobiographical book because he has gone through this. This system existed in the Grand Medical College, Mumbai and BJMD College, Pune. The medical college in Nagpur and Aurangabad came about later. So I think this will give you a bird's eye view how the units progressed over time. Dr. K.B. Grant, when he came, he was the only one who was given a dual responsibility of physician and cardiologist. So he had 2 assistants, Dr. S.P. Gokhale and Dr. S.M.S. Modi. And on the retirement of Dr. S.P. Gokhale, I think that unit split and there was no more double charge. I think later on the honorary cardiologist came in. Next. These are the other units, what Dr. Mutali described. Dr. Nam later on went to Mirrors. And you will see some familiar names in this. Dr. S.K. Joshi was for a very short time in the Dr. Sardesai unit, which initially started as a new unit in 1963. This is just to give you a broad idea of the unit's progress over time. I am not going beyond 1990. Next. Next, please. Now, you saw the heads of units, MSH Modi and Chandrachud and P.N. Deshmukh. This is a photo courtesy our friend is sitting here. Yes. This is a photo given to me by Dr. Kadri through his daughter-in-law's treasure box. This shows you, as it says, the reference of JJ Hospital from which 2 persons came to Pune, Dr. Sway to head of a unit and young Dr. K.B. Grant to head the other unit. Next. I am showing you that left side of photo because that is how we remember young Dr. Grant. He was wearing a bow tie, only 1 person in Pune wearing a bow tie. 2 other cardiologists in Bombay later on were seen wearing a bow tie, about K.K. Dati and B.K. Goyal. Another person, another honorary BJ Medical College later on was seen wearing a bow tie was Srinivas Rangan, a dermatologist. Dr. Grant, although he was an honorary teacher, he gave us 2 outstanding professors of medicine, Dr. G.S. Mutalik and Dr. R.B. Bhargava. He was a freak for fitness I did 3 years residency with him. He always climbed stairs and it was very difficult to keep pace with him. We had to keep patients reading the OPD or OPD lyric, and he insisted the students take only history and inspection. Don't touch the patient. That was his instruction. So the clinics were based only on history taking and inspection. There were 2 exciting events in his life, which many of you may not know. He was fond of going to Maharashtra and stay there for a few days. And one evening, he went out for a walk and got lost in Maharashtra forest. He spent the whole night in the forest and was found next morning by the staff which had rushed from Pune to find where he stopped. The second event was more, I don't know very what to call it, was the hijacking of Pan Am flight in 1986 at Karachi. It landed at Karachi. Dr. Grant was on that flight. He jumped out of the window on the wing of the plane and he got a bullet injury in his leg. There were 20 persons, passengers in that plane were shot dead, and some of you may have seen the movie on Neeraj Bhanot, the air hostess who tried to save the lives of many people. I remember Dr. Grant's Thursday night clinics. He used to have Thursday night clinics of postgraduates, where earlier Dr. S.K. Joshi and later on Dr. Aris Wadia used to conduct those clinics. And we had to get the latest information, and I had to rush to Vaman and Dastoor's shop near Dorabji to get the 35 mm slides made. And those were present at Thursday night meetings. I remember mostly Ichapure's father, pathologist, attending those meetings, and so was Roshan Master, psychiatrist. Next. Dr. Sway, another institution of that time, he was known for a very thorough clinical examination. He would take half an hour to examine every patient. Even if he had just intestinal colic, he would go from head to toe, examine the central nervous system. Wait, let me go back to Dr. Grant. One specialty of Dr. Grant was, not only was he a thorough clinical examiner, he carried an ophthalmoscope and a stethoscope in his hand. He was the only physician I have seen taking rounds with an ophthalmoscope in the round and used to do ophthalmoscopy of each patient. Next slide. This is a photograph we show. Some of you may recognize these faces. If you don't recognize the faces, you can read the names. Is Suresh here? Suresh Shinde is not here. Suresh Shinde has written a book called Nidan, based on his experiences in Sassoon Hospital as well as later on, who describes Dr. Sway's demeanor very well. So, this is the system. The names are of course there. The one who is without any name in the right hand corner, some of you may have recognized him. He spent 6 months in that unit when I was working with Dr. Sway between June 1972 to December 1972. He would appear only on Wednesdays, which was on Wednesday day. He disappeared for the rest of the week, and he asked his colleagues Ashok Chitan from Karad now and Sheila Kanetkar to cover for him, because he used to go for the elite practice of Kashiram Gurdwara. That's Mohan Agashi. And we came to know about this after 6 months, when on 16th December 1972, the first time Kashiram Gurdwara was staged on Bharatanatyam Museum stage. So that was Mohan Agashi. Next person. Earlier, senior physicians came mostly from Grand Medical College. Now here you have them from GS Medical College. I have attended lectures by Dr. Prayag in all subjects, physiology, pharmacology, medicine, and those times honorees were giving various lectures. In 1958, he went to New York for 1 year to do a fellowship in cardiology. And as I said, in 1967, Sassoon Hospital celebrated its centenary when Dr. Mutali thought of establishing specialty clinics. In that time, Dr. Prayag was the first one to opt for nephrology clinic. and he started his specialty in nephrology clinic. He went to Willow Christian Medical College to get training in nephrology and dialysis. But unfortunately, the government said no, only full-timers can have the dialysis unit. So he was the one who persuaded Dr. Mrs. Mitra to go to Mumbai, get trained and establish the first dialysis unit in Sassoon. Next. The photograph on the left, this is how I remember a very handsome young man driving his Fiat car in 1959 when I was in third year. And the whole student community was upset. But he stayed here only for 3 months, he sat there for 3 months, came back with an MRCP, and there was no limit to his teaching. We all attended his evening clinics in neurology. He first worked in Dr. Suez unit, and in 1963 had his own unit where he headed, and Dr. R.S. Wadia, after he graduated with his MD, joined Dr. Sardesai as his assistant. About Dr. Suez, he was a very affectionate person. He used to call everyone by his first name. Dr. Viharapai was Vasant to him. I was Subhash to him. Not only that, Dr. K.P. Karan was Keki to him. And the only person I had heard Dr. Sardesai calling Bad was Dr. Suez. Next. Again, you will recognize familiar faces in this. This was Dr. Sardesai, then became virtually synonymous with neurology unit, with Dr. R.S. Wadia, later Dr. Rajani Amin. Behind Dr. Wadia is Manik, his wife. So, this is a very memorable photograph. Next. Uma Newt has already told you, she has stolen a march about me by telling you about Dr. S.V. Gokhale. This time, when Dr. Grant and Dr. S.V. Gokhale, they were respectively honorary cardiologist and honorary assistant cardiologist. I was in that unit for 3 years, so let me tell you something about what was cardiology in those days. I am talking about 1961 to 1965 or so. Cardiology was one ECG machine in Sassoon Hospital. A heavy 12 kilo Philips ECG machine taken around by trolley, taking ECGs in all the wards. Those who were mobile will be brought down to block 6, and an ECG technician will take the ECG case there. Next morning, Dr. S.V. Gokhale will sit at the table. The houseman would have the ECG diagnosis. Dr. S.V. Gokhale will sign the reports. There was a side room in block 6, which was a mysterious room. There was an old machine there, which I suspect was a machine for phonocardiogram. Because we are taking phonocardiograms and we are reading Lavine's textbook of auscultation. It was also used for right heart catheterization, and that was a limit of cardiology. Pulmonary wedge patients. That was a limit. And in those days, we used to have very advanced congestive cardiac failure patients with chronic cough pneumonia, and the patients were quite eager to know what was going on inside that room. I remember Dr. Kirika was a registrar, and he was always urged by his patients, "Sir, now tikade mein ghilchana, I think I am on. And then the right heart catheters used to be done. Dr. Samuel Modi, Dr. S.M.S. Modi, actually he is MBBS from Pune, MRCP from Pune, and came back to India to join us honorary assistant physician. That is, look at the irony. Dr. S.V. Gokhale, with due credit to his training of 3 years of fellowship in cardiology, never got a chance to do any cardiology in Sassoon Hospital. So he devoted his time to music. He established Art Circle in 1957, and in this very hall, Ravi Shankar performed the first performance of Art Circle in 1957. Later on, he was instrumental in organizing the Savai Gandharva Mahotsav. There is another feature of his character which I will tell you later. Dr. Sally Modi could not get into cardiology because no appointed as a physician. So he turned to his first love, the horses. He was very fond of horse riding, every morning, like his father. He used to go for horse riding. And in a very ironic way, he was instrumental in my being associated with Sasun Hospital. In 1965, while on his usual morning horse ride, he fell down and fractured his leg. I received a phone call from Dr. Mudalik saying, I had just passed my MD at that time. As Dr. Mudalik said, he had no prospects of full-time post. I had no prospects of an honorary post, so I resigned to practicing in the city. He said there is a local post available for 3 months. Sami has followed me from my house. Sami and Mudalik were good friends, by the way, and so was Suresh Patki. The three of them had some common love, as some of you will know. So I said, okay, 3 months, okay. So I joined for 3 months. Sami was least interested in doing general medicine in Sasun Hospital. So he extended his leave another 3 months. So I got another extension of 3 months. And by the time this happened, next year, the government announced that every unit will have 6 months. So that is when I became an honored associate professor. Ravi Gulati came in, Dr. A.S. Phadke came in, so that was the year 1967. In 1975, Dr. Modi wanted to start his MA body of cardiology. That is why he left Sasun Hospital. And in my opinion, that was the best cardiology facility at that time, in 1975, MA body of cardiology. Next. You have already heard from Dr. Mudalik what he was and what Milian Phadke has also introduced him very well, so I don't think much to add. But his bungalow as a rector was in the middle of those 4 blocks of boys' hostel. And that is a very critical place to have a bungalow, but there was advantages. He used to keep an eye on everybody, and as Ranjan said, later on, from these bungalows, he used to have his nurturing food also. R.S. Wadia, Mr. Wadia and Ravi Gulati, as he said, there is 2 right hands. But there is something more also than completely. Next. This is a photo when Dr. Wadia was his senior second year houseman or a registrar. On Dr. Mutalik's side, the second from left is Dr. Nam, who was the second professor. Later on, he went to Miras as professor. This is a photo of 1961. On 2 sides, you see Dr. V.R. Pai, who followed Dr. R.S. Wadia, Dr. Wadia passed his MD. Pai was appearing for his MD examination. I was not a student of Dr. Mutalik, I was working with Dr. Grant. And those days, they were giving 3 months study leave. So Vasant Pai was going on leave. And I was posted there as locum in his place. One day, in March 1963, when Dr. Mutalik, Dr. Vasant Pai on his last day before going on leave, and I, on my first day of joining the locum registrar, discovered a very exciting thing. We found that 3 of us shared that day as our birthday. So 3 of us in the same unit, having the same day as a birthday. I asked my statistician friend, what are the chances, what are the probabilities of such a thing happening? He worked out to 1 in 1,33,225 as the probability of this thing happening. From that day onwards, 3 of us have been calling each other. There's competition in the morning. Who would want the other 2 to wish happy birthday? This went on in 1995, when unfortunately Vasant Pai passed. Next. This is a familiar figure. All of us know a lot about him, but what I want to tell you, highlight something which is shown in the group photo on the left hand side. Dr. Wadia was a very keen sportsman. Hockey was his first love, so was tennis, basketball. Unfortunately, I could not get a photo of any other sports, and neither his daughter Nilo could give me his photo alone with a trophy. The only photo of Dr. Wadia with a trophy I got was for a best scientific paper. But here is one photo taken in 1955. Those days there were intermedical sports tournaments. This was, I'm talking about Bombay Presidency, when there were only 4 medical colleges. Pune, Bombay, Baroda and Ahmedabad. We used to go every year. There were athletics, tennis, badminton, table tennis, all these teams. And this was a group photo of that championship where they came runner-up. And you can see in the center, the principal at him being decided. Dr. Wadi is so far away from him. I don't think at that time they knew that they are going to be father-in-law and son-in-law. Then I think proud to see Dr. Shiroi, third from the right, who was the captain of the hockey team. Sitting first on the left is SS Kirtan. You may have read his textbook of pathology, Kirtan Pende Devdar. That is Subhash Kirtan. Next. Dr. Ravi Gulati was in Dr. Mutalik's lane most of the time, and I remember during his time there, the first ICU was established in block 13. On the left hand side, the first, I think only one row was converted into that was first ICU sometime in 1968 or so. Dr. Sainani came from Nagpur, and he was born in Sindh in pre-partition days. He came to Nagpur, had his education in Nagpur, and he was in Pune for very short. Some of you may remember having seen on his book a photo of 4 eminent professors of medicine. Actually, that photo is from the Dr. R.B. Bhagwat Smara Grantha, which was published last year. He passed away last year, 2 years ago. And last year, this photo was, his Grantha was published. That photo shows probably taken in an API conference. And that shows 2 professors from BJ Medical College. That is Dr. Mutalik and Dr. Bhagwat, who came from, actually we have the permutation combination makes it 3. R.D. Lele was there, who was no connection from BJ Medical College. But Sainani, Mutalik, R.B. Bhagwat and R.D. Lele. That was a unique photograph of 4 eminent professors of medicine in their respective medical colleges. On the right side you see Honorary Brigadier Dr. Sainani. And he was quite fond of wearing his uniform, especially at the API conferences, where I've seen him like. Next. Dr. T.K. Mitra and Mrs. Mitra, they are known to wear like that. Deepak Mitra came from Kolkata. Pallavi Mehta came from Baroda. They met in Nagpur and traveled to Pune via Baroda. No. So, Dr. Sway retired. Dr. Mrs. Mitra joined that unit, security unit. This is what I call the hybrid unit. It was not only peaceful coexistence, it was a very happy coexistence. I was very friendly with Dr. Mitra and D.K. Mitra, D.K. and P.D. Mitra. Lokhandwala and I were working in that unit. P.D. Mitra was a carer for some of the students, but she had an affectionate mind. Shashi Sangal was very well. She was very affectionate also. And they had very long range. Dr. D.K. Mitra had a long range as a professor. You will see some familiar faces in this group photo. Some are in India, some are abroad now. Next. Dr. Uma Newty, I told you about most of these. Out of all these, only Sir Kazi is with us in this. Dr. Kidingar, in spite of his big moustaches, had a twinkle in his eyes and had a very witty tongue. Dr. Arvind Khadke was my colleague. He was of the 7 of us. He was co-founder in the Maharashtra Medical Foundation Sociology. Next. Well, one word about Dr. Guru Padia. He came from outside. he has medical training abroad in England. So I'm sure he had some trouble adjusting to the medical college and the medical training in Pune. I remember him as an examiner, co-examiner for MBBS examinations, the way we conducted the practical examinations of MBBS, he used to get quite annoyed, what is this way of examining the students? It took quite some time for him to get adjusted. Now he's of course one of us and a good friend. Next. This is one of the last photograph of Dr. Loganwala when he had recovered from COVID. Unfortunately, I could not be present on that day. I think it was taken 2021. And these are all students of Dr. Loganwala. A very quiet person, very pious and religious person. Next. Now, in today's world, I cannot end without mentioning the gender equality. But certainly there was no gender equality. The first MD medicine to pass was how many years? About 9. College was started in 1946. Shobha Tawari was my classmate. She was the first girl to pass MD medicine. Vidya Joshi was about 3 years junior to me. She worked in my unit with Dr. Soel. She was the first MD practicing physician in town. And it took such a long time for a lady physician to get the Department of Medicine. Now, this is one of the last slides. All these people had another side to their personality. I have already told you about Dr. Wadia, many sports that he played in. Unless I write the name below that, I don't think you can recognize them. Dr. S.V. Gokhale, as Chotu Gokhale was called. Chotu Gokhale was body beautiful in SP College as well as in BJ Medical College. He was Mr. BJ for 2 successive years. Dr. Modi, as I said, cardiology was his second hobby. First hobby was horses. And if you went to his consulting room in anybody Institute of Cardiology, you will see many statues of horses and paintings of horses all around. In the accident of 1965, he used to love going horse riding. He was also an amateur jockey and taking part in horse races of amateur jockeys. The family had a long tradition of sports. On the other side is yours truly with Arun Date, that is Jaydeep Date's father, when he won the big trophy for the first time, and there was no statue outside of Bairamji Delivery. That we kept a stool there and displayed that trophy in the middle. The statue came in 1959. But I think tennis was the only sport which brought this trophy back 5 times. Once was Ajit Ranade with Madhav Ghate, and the other 4 boys who won this trophy again and again. This is Pune University Intercollegiate Tennis Championship. Next. I took this photograph on the rainy morning last month. I had taken a pilgrimage to BJ Medical College Sassoon Hospital just to go and see the old places. But this is the place where BJ Medical School was started in 1878. Later on, when the BJ Medical College was started, you can see the name there, 1947, when it was renovated and converted into Gymkhana. And when I went there that day, a cricket match was in progress between BJ Medical College and guess what? Narayanpur Medical College. It was fun visiting this Gymkhana. Next, from the other side also. Now this is how I would like this oasis to remain in Pune camp. This was the ground. On the left side you can see that small temple which was there in 1950 also. It is still there. The trees have grown a lush green. In front is the red church, or actually the synagogue, in the compound of which David Sassoon rests in a tomb, keeping an eye on BJ Medical College with statue of Bairamji Jajibai behind us. Thank you.
privileged people and very privileged stalwarts. So I think we move on to the next session of achievements by our HODs. So our HODs have been the backbone of the department, and I would welcome Dr. Mia Suryavanshi on stage to give a brief about our achievements which the HODs have achieved in past 10 years with the department. So Mia, yeah. So Dr. Mia Suryavanshi is Associate Professor in Medicine, and she is a dynamic frontline worker for this whole event. So I would thank her for making such wonderful arrangements. And she is also ran the marathon this time, and it's a 42-kilometer marathon. She did 4 Indian ladies in her age group, and I think we are very proud of her.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am extremely grateful for this huge opportunity to be able to talk about all the giants of Department of Medicine. Their contributions have built this department slowly, brick by brick, over the last few years. Starting with Dr. G.S. Mutalik sir, we've all been privileged enough today to hear him talk and give us some beautiful guidance. So sir was the first full-time head of the department from the year 1959 to 1972, an undergraduate and postgraduate from BJMC. He also later served as the dean and then as the director of medical education and research. He upgraded the medicine department and had started the research lab in the medicine department that we all use, and also started the first intensive care unit as well. He was instrumental in organizing and developing the department right from the location offices to formulating a plan for the bedside clinics, for the lectures, for the audio visuals. Sir also organized the first international conference on human genetics. He was one of the founder members of the Research Society of RSSDI, of Medical Journal of Western India, and of Indian Association of Human Genetics. He also started organizing the CPC conferences that we all attended and learned from every month. He has been the president of Research Society in the year 2007. Next, Dr. C.J. Mistry sir was the second head of the department. However, he could grace the department for a very short period of time. He was extremely interested in academics and extracurricular activities of the undergraduate students and was known to be a very humble personality. Later, Dr. G.S. Senani sir became the head of the department from the year 1973 to 1979. He was known to be an excellent academician, and during his tenure at BJMC, he received ICMR, CSIR and CCRIMH grants. He was appointed as the Assistant Director of CCRIMH as well. He has supervised research of Ayurvedic physicians and has received the Padma Shri Award and the Bharat Ratna Mother Teresa Gold Medal as well. Later, Dr. P.Y. Deshmukh sir held the additional head of the department charge, while Dr. G.S. Senani sir had gone abroad for the research. He was known to be a very strict head of the department and was a thorough disciplinarian. Later, Dr. D.K. Mitra sir served as the head of the department for a very long period from 1979 to 1993. He was known to be a medical teacher par excellence and a very good administrator. He established the MICU setup that we've seen in Ward 13 earlier. He brought the first ventilator in Sassoon Hospital. He brought the first gastroscope in medicine department, and he also brought the first echocardiography machine in Pune. Here I would like to share a small anecdote because of doing the research. Shashikala Sangli ma'am could find a small letter addressed by Dr. K.V. Grand sir to the then professor and head of department Dr. Mitra sir, requesting for an echocardiogram of a patient with atrial fibrillation and CCF because of mitral valvular lesion. As only Sassoon Hospital then had the 2D echo machine, and we could find the letter in ma'am's treasured book. I'm really grateful for that. He also laid the foundation for establishment of the dialysis unit, and he was the founder member and president of the Pune chapter of API. Later, Dr. P.D. Mitra ma'am became the head of the department from the year 1993 to 1996. She was a teacher well known for her discipline. A student would often say that she taught everything that books could not teach, like approach to clinical medicine, empathy, the right culture to be followed in medicine. After the groundwork was laid by Dr. Mitra sir, ma'am ensured that the medicine department had a fully functional dialysis unit. As an HOD, she brought in a huge number of books in the medicine library and really made it the temple of knowledge that it was. She always encouraged the students to conduct bedside lab investigations, awareness workshops for HIV. In the initial days of HIV, when very little was known about the disease in the common people. Dr. R.P. Amin ma'am then became the head of the department from the year 1996 to 2001. She was an undergraduate and postgraduate from BJMC itself. She initiated the virology OPD to cater to the immunocompromised patients in the early days when the disease was heavily stigmatized. She also started the neurology clinics in Ward 15 along with Dr. Vadia sir, where initially the indoor patients were discussed and later on even the OPD patients were discussed and examined and treated. She began the tradition of PG prelim examinations to help the students perform better in university exams, as she realized that it became difficult to sit for 3 hours after the period of residency of 3 years. She also started displaying about clinical cases outside the medicine department, mainly for the learning of the undergraduate students. Dr. S.G. Bhatia ma'am then became the head of department from the year 2001 to 2003. She was also an undergraduate and postgraduate from BJMC. She was instrumental in establishing the cath lab in the Department of Medicine, and she had organized an Indo-UK CME on rheumatology under NCI. She was also a PI of a very important ICMR project, National Multicentric Prospective Study of Morbidity and Mortality Events in NIDDM. She continued all the work that was initiated by her visitors in the medical department. She has also been the president of the Research Society. Dr. A.L. Kakrani sir, he next became the head of department from the year 2003 to 2008. He established the ARK Center during his tenure. It was only the fifth center in India at that time to be established. He laid the foundation of the current gastroenterology department that we have in the Infosys building second floor. He has been a member of International Advisory Board of Davidson's Principles and Practice of Medicine Group for 5 consecutive years. He has been a reviewer and member of International Advisory Board of Hutchinson's Clinical Methods. He received the Fogati Fellowship for training in principles of clinical epidemiology and 4 years intensive training and research program from Fogati Guns of NIH USA. He's been the PI and co-PI of various clinical trials in collaboration with the JHU USA, and he has also been the president of the Research Society. Next, Dr. D.P. Kadam sir became the head of the department from the year 2008 to 2017. He was also an UG/PG from BJMC, known to be an astute clinician, academician and administrator by all. He laid the foundation of treatment of management of H1N1 epidemic from the forefront during that period. During his tenure, the cath lab was renovated because of tremendous efforts and under the guidance of Dr. N.G. Karandikar sir, who then headed the cardiology department as an honorary person for 10 years, and the cath lab was developed because of sir's effort. During his tenure, the first renal transplant was conducted in PGMC in collaboration with other departments and faculty. He also expanded the MICU from 16 beds to 26 beds unit, which is seen currently. During his tenure, the ART Center was awarded as the Center of Excellence. He was instrumental in starting the telemedicine at BJMC. He has also been the PI and co-PI of various clinical trials conducted in collaboration with JHU. He is now the Professor Emeritus of Medicine, and he has also been the President of the Research Society. Dr. Shashikala Sangal ma'am, she is being the head of department in the year 2017 until 2021. She is also UG/PG from BJGMC. During her tenure, she expanded the gastroenterology division through the generous donation of Mukul Madhav Foundation. She also started the NIH's Fellowship in Advanced Gastrointestinal Endoscopies. During her tenure, the first liver transplant was conducted in BJMC along with Dr. Shigal Mahajani ma'am's efforts. Further, 21 renal transplants were conducted. She has been the nodal officer of the ART Center of Excellence and of Telemedicine. She started the Daycare Center of Chemotherapy in the year 2019 along with Dr. Chapur Gorasa. She organized the CAB on lupus and spondyloarthropathy. She has been the ex-editor of Medical Journal of Western India. She has organized multiple workshops for medical officers during the H1N1 epidemic. She has also attended the training of trainers by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare at New Delhi for COVID management. She has also been the PI and co-PI of various clinical trials held in collaboration with JHU, and she is of course now the current president of the Research Society. Next, our current head of the department, Dr. R.T. Godse sir. Since 2021, again sir is also undergraduate and postgraduate postgraduate from BJGMC. He has led the management of COVID for 2 years from the forefront while we faced the brunt at Pune. He has been awarded as the Local Maharashtrian Year of the Year award. He laid the groundwork for starting fellowship in geriatrics under NUHS. Started the National Viral Hepatitis Control Program Center at BJGMC, under which we conducted multiple CMEs and programs for awareness of the same, and now affordable treatment for hepatitis B and C is available. The renovation of the Department of Medicine has now been commenced, and of course it's been carrying forward the mammoth work that has been over past more than 50 years, brick by brick, and carrying it forward without any hindrance. Thank you everyone. I would like to thank all the senior faculty in helping me compile this huge information, especially Dr. Kale sir and Dr. Shashikala Sangagan, without which this would have been impossible for me, and if there has been any mistakes, I apologize from my side.
For introducing us to our lecturers, and now we have two interesting sections. One is down the memory lane and the cultural program. But before that, I think our seniors have been gracious enough to be here since morning, and we would like to felicitate them. So I would request Dr. Sangre Madam, Dr. Kaprani sir and Dr. Kadam sir to come up on the stage to felicitate our seniors. Yes, sir. Amin Madam's clip will be played just after the felicitation. So I'll announce the names. So I request Dr. Sangre Madam to felicitate Dr. Subhash Kale sir. Dr. Sangre Madam to felicitate Dr. Subhash Kale sir. Dr. Kaprani sir to felicitate Dr. R.S. Patil sir. Dr. Kadam sir to felicitate Dr. R.B. Gulati sir. Dr. Sangre Madam to felicitate Dr. Vinod Shah sir. Dr. Kaprani sir to felicitate Dr. Gangwal sir. Dr. Kadam sir to felicitate Dr. U.K. Madam. Dr. Shilsika Madam is here. Dr. Sangre Madam to felicitate Dr. F.F. Vadia sir. Dr. Kaprani sir to felicitate Dr. Yamini sir. Dr. Kadam sir to felicitate Dr. Kadam sir. Last but not least, I will request Dr. Bhattacharya sir to felicitate Sagar Madam. So both of you can be. I think Sagar Madam also applause from the audience for all I hope I have not missed anybody, and I'm sorry if I missed anybody. So now we will go to the next interesting session of Down to Memory Lane. And I have my colleague and good friend Sheetal Harmony, who take you through this memory lane. And we know her as a eminent gastroenterologist in the city of Pune, but she's the first pathologist in the town and has done liver transplants and nearly 500 liver transplants to her credit. She has done 5 liver transplants in Sassoon, which is pioneering work here. And she's also interested in training and many other activities. So I will not waste more time and I would like to welcome Sheetal.
Thank you, Vaishali. Good afternoon, respected teachers, seniors, my colleagues and dear friends. All of us have been waiting for hearing this recall of memories of our fond time in the Department of Medicine, being a student, being a teacher. So this session we will be talking to our teachers as students and some of the teachers as teachers and some of the students as students. So let us begin with this journey. For this particular program, I have 4 compares with me. I have Dr. Surup Sardesai. Surup is UG and PG of our college, and he was in late Dr. H.V. Sardesai's and Dr. R.S. Wadia's unit. He worked as consultant in acute and respiratory medicine at Royal Cornwall Hospital in UK in 2020, and now currently he practices internal medicine in the city of Pune. Then I have Dr. Tushar Dige. Tushar is again MBBS and MD from our own college. He was also one of my CRs. He did DM nephrology from Mumbai and he practices as a nephrologist. Over and above everything else, recently from the WhatsApp group, we have realized he is a Sanskrit scholar and whatever he writes, half the time it goes above our heads. So let us learn Sanskrit from him. Then we have Shrikant Zategaonkar. Shrikant is MD and MBBS from our college and he practices in Talegaon. And he and his wife Jyoti, both of them are serving the so-called rural, I can't call it rural anymore, but so-called rural area, and they are also attached to Mahindra Medical College, and he is a vivid mountaineer. Then we have Sanjaman Tendulkar with us. He has done MD from 2002 and 2005 till 2005. He has worked hard to establish ART unit under guidance of Patrani sir, and he is current secretary of ATI Pune. He organized Nandicon last year, and he is the managing director of Sanjaman Hospital. Over to you, sir.
There may be a slight change in the program. We are running a bit late, so it's possible we may have to break this into 2 sessions, so we might have a lunch break in between, depending on how we are running. So we have quite a few speakers, and I request them to speak maybe between 3 and 5 minutes, occasional exception. So to start with, the senior most Dr. Wadia, I welcome you. Or would you like to speak from there? Okay. So I'm going to briefly, we've got a slide here, so we are not going to talk about, but you can come. I'll
First, the students felicited the teachers, and the teachers and the teachers and the vice teachers and the other people in the teaching department felicitate the students. So all of us have been felicitated today, and I hope all of us are happy on the occasion.
Thank you very much, Vadia sir. The next introduced is Dr. R.P. Gulati sir. As you know, he is the astute initial student teacher of the Department of Medicine and Cardiology over the last 25 years, the trustee of Ruby Hospital. To share with us some funny moments of department while he was.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It's such a nice afternoon, and I'm very, very proud to be with you here today. Sheetal told me that she would introduce me as a very naughty houseman and registrar. No, I wasn't. I can assure you I was a very Sida Sada gentleman who was very sincere, and that's why I was kept for 13 years in the professorial unit before I got chucked out to go into the cardiology unit. Some memories down memory lane which have stuck into my head. Chitranjan, this is for you. Just as Dr. Mutalik signed your consent, he signed my consent also because my parents were not here, they were in UK and I was his registrar. And on the round I got acute appendicitis. And who else had to operate but Mrs. Mehta. Now she took me in within 3 hours just to be in my mouth for 3 hours and took me in and did the appendix operation. Fortunately I had no peritonitis, but one incident I remember, she used to smoke in the operation theatre. And the ash from the smoking fell into my abdominal cavity. Now this, she told her registrar, lady registrar who was assisting her, when Dr. Gulati wakes up, tell him that I have dropped some sterile ash into his abdominal cavity. After that, of course, we became the best of friends, and she used to refer all her patients of cancer used to take us to me for fitness for surgery. Now, some other one or two moments which are stuck into my head. We were the first in India to get a trial on ankylostoma duodenale. That was in Dr. Mutalik's unit. Ultimately, the drug was marketed as, you might remember, as Decaris. It was a single tablet which was to be given. Now we had to enroll patients and give them the tablet overnight, and guess what we had to do? The next morning and the subsequent morning we had to collect the stool of the patient in a bucket, wash it and filter it, and get all really the worms that came out. And one day I remember we counted from one patient 1,000 hookworms. That was a real thing, and that's why Hex gave us a big certificate saying that this unit was the best for doing any research in medicine. The other one which sticks in my head is a person who had taken diazepam went into renal failure, and at that time there was no dialysis, no nothing. The urea mounted slowly and reached up to a level of 780. That time we had no creatinine levels to be done. So 780 urea, what to do? Dr. Mutalik asked me, what shall we do? So he said, read the books. And in the books it was written, try Bull's solution. I don't know whether any of you know what Bull's solution is, because it is unheard of now. It doesn't appear on Google also. Bull's solution is where you triturate oil and milk together and add some sort of thing together, and then it is given intragastric. And to my dismay, within 1 week of treatment with that Bull solution, the renal failure disappeared slowly and the patient went walking home with a urea of 25. It's absolutely amazing how that could happen. But then, as Dr. Mutalik said, traditional old medicine worked at that time. Another thing that I have to tell you about diazepam poisoning. One patient was admitted, we had our emergency days in the professor's unit on Mondays. And that night I was on emergency duty. From the morning 9 o'clock when the emergency had started, I had already admitted 40 patients. And I was going like that. And I was sitting on the bench. I heard the lift open, ward number 13, the lift is to the right. And from there I heard a kitch noise coming. You know what the kitch is? It's the trolley which the person is pulling. He never used to oil his wheels. And once we heard that at night, we knew another admission is coming. So that admission came straight into ward number 13. And that was at 4:30 in the morning. Okay, the atropinized he started jumping everything. Those were the days when we had to do side labs. The houseman had to do everything. Hemoglobin, white cell count, urine examination. I promise you I have done everything for all those patients. That night I was fed up. And when this patient was admitted, I said he looks quite okay. So laga diya hemoglobin 12 grams, WBC count 6,700, urine again. Okay. Dr. Mutalik came for his round at 9:30. I was still, half dazed. And ultimately he reached that patient of diazepam poisoning. He was sitting up, he was better. He said, Dr. Gulati, I think this fellow looks a little pale. Did you check his hemoglobin again? So I said, okay, sir. Then I took the blood and checked it. And the hemoglobin turned out to be 6 grams. So that day I got a good hearing on what is moral science from Dr. Mutalik. So that's what is down memory lane for me. I've got many other instances, but I think the others must get a chance. Thank you.
Dr. Gulati sir. Down memory lane, now we have another distinguished faculty and guest, Dr. Madhav Kare sir. Sir, please. Kare sir is the father of chest medicine and like ECG machine to the physician. Pulmonary function test machine is the machine which is absolutely necessary for chest medicine department. And he is the first person to start the pulmonary function test in Pune and this area. Over to Madhav Kare sir. Thank you, sir.
I think all these memories have been already told, which I really wanted to tell you about, especially my college days, medicine days. And I do remember this. I was taking all these lectures on lung function test in ABT for many years since 1970s. And many of you must have attended all those lectures. And I'm really thankful for that. And I'm really nothing else to say. I just have a big thank you for all of you for arranging this great function and inviting us for this. Thank you very much.
Before I start, I go to Madam Lily Joshi, who has been a English Sanskrit Pandita for us, and I am only the translator of few English verses in Sanskrit. And hereby I want to tell you one verse that we have put in on the memento, that is Arpayami Yashab Kirti Nispruham Prati Shikshagam. We hereby dedicate our whatever glory and whatever triumphs we had to our teachers, and Rakshatu Bandhu Bhava Vaidyaka Sahapataka. Whatever non-harming that we have created here, we want to preserve it for eternity. And here I request Dr. F.F. Padia to say his few words. Sir has been the father of nephrology and has done the transplants and please sir.
came from outside. And I grew up outside also, as you all know. So you must be wondering why I am here. But throughout my medical life in Pune, I've had very close connections with the Sasul, very fond memories of people. Just before I qualified abroad, I came here and I got a meeting with Dr. Mutali. And he said to me, look, we don't even take doctors here from neighboring states. We don't take anybody from Gujarat, let alone anybody from some foreign country. So don't think about it. So I realized that there was no space for me in the governmental setup. Eventually I joined the KEM, where I've been working all these years. Since 1969, I've worked there. Very briefly, my main job, I say main job because I've been given many jobs in my life there. I look after the library catalog, start the saline department, go to Vadugudruk and start the villages. But my main job has been actually what I love best, which was to be a physician and to start nephrology here. So when I first came, Dr. Bangboy, he said to me that if you specialize in nephrology, there's no such thing here, you will start. I said, no, I'm a physician, I'd like to start nephrology. And so we did. And just before I left England, my boss said to me, here's my key, take it and take every piece of plastic equipment you would find, take it with you to India because we know there's very little there. So the customs people were rather surprised to find that under this fellow's shirts and trousers, there's a whole heap of what looked like peculiar tubes. And that's what enabled us to start. So with a single peritoneal catheter, we started in 1969. And thanks, I think, to the support that we got from our people. I joined Dr. Vasan Pai from Mumbai and worked with him for several years until very sad, shocking event when he was killed. And I stepped into his shoes, remained the head of medicine for 14 years till the sort of looking after the kidney unit, expanding kidney unit, medicine department which tripled in size with a lot of fractious consultants. So I requested Dr. Qureshi that it's time myself to go back to my first love. My medical history has really been a love story with kidneys throughout. I could not make sense of kidneys when I was a medical student until almost the last time when we had a tutorial system there and suddenly they began to make sense. And of course my classmates said, they are making sense because you got this tutor who was a very good looking lady with a soft spoken voice. And that is why suddenly kidneys are making sense. But whatever, they made sense to me thereafter. Anyway, that's enough about me. But I think that I have very fond memories of my connection with the Sasul. Not only because of the students. I became an undergraduate teacher first in 77 and a PG teacher in 78. And one of the best memories of my medical life here has been the vast variety of personalities who passed through our hands there. And temperamentally, particularly. One side, you have absolutely cool, calm, imperturbable characters like Anil Godbole, Sudhir Jagtap, Desley, all these may not be names to you. Through the spectrum and on the right side, we have mercurial hotheads. Two of whom are actually sitting in this audience, but I don't think I take them. They know perfectly well. But it was a most enjoyable time, and I feel sad that the connection between our medicine department was snapped when the Double Flower came and he reduced the number of medical students. But apart from the medical students, I also have very fond memories of interacting with colleagues from the Sasul. All the professors have been very kind to us throughout. patients. And I particularly remember that when I became chairman of examiners, it was a nightmare. Because every time in the morning there would be a phone. Sir, come on, and so, who do I ring up for Dr. Subhash Kare and Dr. Kinikar? Sir, please, Madhur Karela. And every time they would come to the rescue. So, thank you. He's not here any longer, but thank you for sitting here. And another personality that I always remember is the late Dr. Mehta, whom we were about. That for some reason, she used to always call me over at all times of night or day to see some patient or the other. And through fumes of smoke and all the tea which had been brewed probably the previous day, we would be working well into the darkness. And she later, of course, joined us in KEM. And by that time I knew her well, so I said to her, why don't you please have a test tube on your hand so that your assistant can keep your ash into it. But great lady. So anyway, these are some of these memories. Thank you.
Madam couldn't come for this, but she has recorded her message.
I don't know how to restrict 40 years into 3 minutes. They were filled with fun, frolic, and a little bit of education. To be very frank, I did not enjoy the didactic lectures at all. I really wanted to jump to the hospital side as soon as possible, which I realized was not likely till 1.5 years was over. So we used to sneak into the operation theatre gallery and watch surgery. I would spend as much time in the hospital as I could. Third year was very hard because there was surgery, medicine and gynecology. Third year passed and we became interns. This was real education in patient management. We had to do everything on our own and it
We have always known her as a very strict disciplinarian, and now we see the other side of Madam, who is so mischievous on the WhatsApp that it is unbelievable that Madam is so full of fun and life.
I don't know how to restrict. The didactic lectures at all. I really wanted to jump to the hospital side as soon as possible, which I realized was not likely till 1.5 years was over. The gallery and watch surgery. I would spend as much time in the hospital as I could. Third year was very hard because there was surgery, medicine and gynecology. Third year passed and we became interns. This was real education in patient management. We had to do everything on our own, and in this we thoroughly enjoyed that 1 year of internship. Now jumping to my PG program. When I became a PG in medicine, the first person I encountered was in the NG auditorium where they were distributing the various courses. Dr. G.S. Mutali, where you could select a seat of your choice if it was vacant. And so I got into medicine. My surrogate teacher was Dr. G.S. Mutali, who actually gave me my topic. However, in this dissertation, I learned that laboratory is extremely important. 3 years were like a huge learning experience. 24/7 by 365. Practically without any respite. Being a lecturer and having done nearly 8 terms in the medical wards, I had become a master of the wards. I worked in psychiatry, I worked in skin also, so doing any emergency on any background was an easy task for me. I retired at the end of nearly 40 years after entering my alma mater, and I retired very happily and very hoped to imagine that I would probably not do anything more very long. I joined the Patil Medical College, where I worked for nearly 5 years eventually, and from there I shifted to Kashibai Medical College, where again I stayed put for nearly 7 years also. At the end of this time, I was reaching the age of 70 and I had to be pushed out because the MCI or even the DCI does not permit a person to work beyond this age. I still enjoy teaching students, but now I have to use my patients as my students, and I usually teach them a little bit of medicine every time I face a patient. I am now semi-retired, but not really tired.
So now I would request Dr. Kazi sir to speak to us for 2 minutes. Kazi sir is a student as well as teacher from our department, and he is still actively practicing. He has taught many of us, and he has been a senior colleague to many of us while in private practice. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm sure everybody is waiting for his lunch. So also I am waiting for the lunch. So let us finish it because I have been requested. So I will just tell you a couple of things. I have already written on the WhatsApp group how I became or I came for MD because of Dr. Mitalik's kindness. When I was working in the hospital, Sassoon Hospital. I was working in Dr. Mistry and Dr. Wadia's unit. And after some time, after my post-graduation, Dr. Wadia asked me, what are you doing? Are you not going to practice? I said, yes, sir. But then it's very difficult for me to get a place. I had selected one place near Lakshmi Road, and that particular owner was asking for 5,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees was a big sum at that time, and for me it was impossible. So I told Dr. Bhatia that this is what has happened. He said, you want to have a room. I am practicing on the East Street in that Edward Urban Library. And though I have got a place there, I go there occasionally. Most of the time, he's there. Madhav, you still Dr. Vadia sir that I am talking about him. Sir, what is that I was talking about? How I got my first consultation room. So when Dr. Wadia came to know that I don't have that much money to start a private practice because of lack of consulting room, he said that I have got a room there opposite quality restaurant, that Albert Edward library. So if you want to use it, you can use it. So I said, sir, I'm really happy. I will be using it. So I went there. I told the manager that I have to get this particular thing and I'm going to start practice. See how things change and how sort of a person come to help to you. I was running around with that manager and he was not giving the key of that particular room at all. I was going there and we had talked about Dr. Sure. He was a very kind person. So Dr. Sure said, why have you come here? I told him that Dr. Wadia has given me consulting room, but this librarian is not giving me the key. He said, yes, you come with me. He took me there and he scolded that librarian and said that immediately in front of him, in front of himself, you have to give a key to Dr. Kazi. So I went there and I started practice my there. So this is how things change. In the same way, I wanted to buy a scooter, but then it was costing 3,000 rupees at that time. Very difficult. I wanted to take a loan, and every bank if you go, you'll be surprised to know now that they wanted to have a guarantor who has got some real estate. That only bank will accept the guarantor. It was not like this, that you come and take a look, take a round and then you buy a car or whatever. So once Dr. Vasant Bhai was with me. He said, how are you going around here and there? I said, I am going just like that, somebody or other takes me and we go for visits or to my clinic. So he said that, okay, what has happened? I said, I have not been able to get 2,000 rupees for loan from the bank. So he said, come with me. And he went to Canara Bank. And in Canara Bank, you know that it was as good as Dr. Vasant Bhai's bank. So he said, told the manager, you give 3,000 rupees on my credit, okay? And give him 3,000 rupees, and then I could buy a scooter. See, these are the things, these are the difficulties which we have faced, and I am sure a lot of you have faced this, and you have come out of this. But I can never, okay, then I have become assistant honorary, associate honorary, and fortunately I was having a good practice. And then I was finding it difficult to take the clinics and do whatever rounds and this thing there, and again do my practice. And fortunately, we also have a particular team in Assam campus. We wanted to have a hospital and a medical college for the Yunani, Urdu-speaking students, because they were not getting admission to the MBBS. As this was quite a lot of things, so I resigned my post of associate professor and I started this. Dr. D.K. Mitra was the head of the HOD of medicine. So he told me, I think, why you are resigning? This is not the time to resign. So I told him, sir, I am resigning because you can ask me now why you are resigning. Whereas if I do like this, the way I am doing my visits to Sassoon Hospital, you will say, Dr. Kazi, why are you not resigning? So I think that is how I resigned, and we had a good time at Sassoon Hospital. I was very fond of teaching students, and I think some of them, whoever have become now professors and the head of the department, may be remembering some of them. Thank you very much.
Just an announcement, we are running about 40 minutes late, and there are some logistic issues about either photographer needs to probably go, lunch has to be served at a certain time. Maybe we can have one or two more and then have lunch break. So I don't know whether Dr. Subhash Pai, would you like to speak anything, or you have covered everything? You have covered everything. Okay. Then okay, maybe one Dr. Gangwal and then we'll have a break. Is that okay? Yeah, please.
नमस्कार. आजच्या ह्या साध्या कार्यक्रमात फारच आनंद मी घेतोय. फक्त 1-2 मिनिटातच मी माझं वक्तव्य संपवेल. इथे येताना काही गोड आणि काही थोड्याशा कडू आठवणी परत जागृत झाल्या. मला अजूनही तो दिवस आठवतो. इथे गोड आठवणी म्हणजे आल्या आम्ही बोर्ड पाहिले आणि ते फेट अक्षरात का होईना पण पाहिलं TBSला गोल्ड मिळायचा नोंद आहे आणि बेस्ट आउटगोईंग स्टुडंट असल्याचं माझं नाव तिथे पाहिलं आणि मला थोडासा आनंद वाटला. आणि कडू आठवणी अशा की याच प्लॅटफॉर्मवर 1964 मध्ये मी ॲडमिशन घ्यायला आलो होतो. डॉक्टर गांधला, डॉक्टर मेंडोन साहेब स्टेजवर होते आणि मला बोलवण्यात आलं. जेव्हा मी इथे आलो तेव्हा एक पायजमा घातलेला होता आणि वरती शर्ट होता. आणि मग मी जेव्हा कॉलेजमध्ये इथे ॲडमिशनसाठी आलो त्यावेळी अनेक मुलांची स्कूल्स मी ऐकली की अरे आपल्या स्कूलमध्ये पायजमावाला विद्यार्थी येणार आहे. आणि मला स्टेजवर जेव्हा बोलावलं तेव्हा त्या ग्रुपने ठिकाणी स्लोगन द्यायला सुरुवात केली की पायजमा अँड चड्डी इज नॉट अलाउड इन द मेडिकल कॉलेज. आणि त्यावेळी मला खंत वाटली कारण तोपर्यंत मी कधी पॅन्ट घातली नव्हती. मी श्रीरामपूरसारख्या एका छोट्या गावातून आलो होतो आणि आर्थिक अवस्था दुरावस्था असल्यामुळे मला पॅन्ट देखील मी तोपर्यंत कधी आयुष्यात घातलेली नव्हती. आणि त्या स्टेजवर मी निर्णय घेतला की ज्या मुलांनी माझी फिंगर केली आहे त्यांनी माझं कौतुक करावं असं मी काम करून दाखवेल. आणि मग या 3 वर्षाच्या काळामध्ये खूप मेहनत केली. दिवस रात्र अभ्यास केला आणि या स्टेजवर बेस्ट आउटगोईंग स्टुडंट, फायझर गोल्ड मेडल, फायझर पोस्ट ग्रॅज्युएट अवॉर्ड सगळे असताना या लोकांनी टाळ्यामध्ये माझं कौतुक केलं. आणि म्हणून मला असं वाटतं की इथल्या आठवणी या काही कडू आठवणी आहेत, काही गोड आठवणी आहेत. आत्ताच डॉक्टर ग्रांटबद्दल बोलत होते. डॉक्टर ग्रांट, डॉक्टर मुताली वॉज माय पोस्ट ग्रॅज्युएट टीचर. आणि आम्हाला अजून होतं रात्र आम्ही कशी मेहनत करत होतो, कशा स्लाइड्स पाहत होतो, कसं हिमोग्लोबिन चेक करत होता. तर डॉक्टर गुलाटींनी सांगितलं RS वाडिया गुलाटी हे आमचे टीचर, SS काळे, माधव काळे, काझी यांच्याकडनं खूप क्लिनिकल मेडिसिन शिकायला आलं. पण सगळ्या क्लिनिकल मेडिसिन मला शिकायला मिळालं ते डॉक्टर ग्रांटकडनं. आणि मला अजूनही तो दिवस आठवतो. फिमेल वॉर्डमध्ये ग्राउंड घेत होतो आणि चुकून मी कर्टन न लावता त्या पेशंटला स्ट्रिप आउट केलं. मागून ग्रँटनी माझ्या पाठीत जोरदार धक्का मारला आणि म्हणाले दिस इज नॉट युअर फादर्स प्रॉपर्टी, प्लीज सी दॅट शी इज रिस्पेक्टेड. आणि लगेचच कर्टन लावण्यात आले. आणि मग महाराजांनी ग्रँटने सांगितलं डोंट टच दॅट पेशंट, यू डोंट हॅव टू टच द पेशंट टू गेट अ डायग्नोसिस. Ask proper history and have an inspection. Don't touch the patient. आणि पेशंटला टच न करता देखील कसं क्लिनिकल डायग्नोसिस करायचं याचं आर्ट ऑफ मेडिसिन वॉज टॉट बाय डॉक्टर ग्रांट. मला आज या प्रसंगी सगळ्या ग्रेट लोकांची आठवण येते. मुतालिकांकडनं खूप शिकायला मिळालं, सगळ्यांकडनं शिकायला मिळालं. आत्ता यात्रिक जेव्हा ही वॉज ॲडमिटेड द हॉस्पिटल, ही वॉज इन द 13 नंबरच्या वॉर्डमध्ये होतो. तर मला अजूनही आठवतं रात्रंदिवस मुतालिकाने सांगितलं होतं की इथेच बसून राहायचं, फक्त जेवायला आणि टॉयलेटला बाहेर जायचं. यू हॅव नॉट टू गेट आउट ऑफ द वॉर्ड. आणि अशा प्रकारे आम्ही लोकांची पेशंटची सेवा केली. आज आत्ता हा प्रसंग सगळ्या आपल्यामुळे आज मला इथे यायला मिळालं. 2 शब्द सांगायला लागले. मी आपला सर्वांचा आभारी आहे, ऑर्गनायझरचा आभारी आहे, सगळ्यांचा मनापासून आभार मानतो, सगळ्यांचे आभार मानतो.
Fortunate to have our dean sir here in person, so I will hand over the mic to Dr. Saraj.
Can we have the lights on, please? Microphone lights.
Good afternoon, sir, everybody. Respected teachers, RS Wadia sir, he has taught when I was in
the second Empress. He happened to be my father's batchmate, and all the stalwarts, Dute Madam, Vadia sir, Amin sir, Mr. Amin, Akrami sir, Gamwal sir, I was in the first Empress. That time he used to take our clinics, Vadia sir, all respected my teachers, colleagues. I been fortunate to be here as a dean. Since my undergraduate, I am here. For a few years, I was transferred to Dean Solapur. There are 3 generations of surgeons from this college. So I wanted, as a whole, that the image of this hospital, where you have learned, what I have learned, should be one of the best in the state and the country. With my college council, Dr. Borse, Dr. Prasad, the HOD, Professor of Medicine, they are really helping me, guiding me to shape this hospital, this college, to be the forefront of the student in the society as well. To see when I joined the opening of this hospital, it was almost 1400, now it has gone to 2400 per day. The admissions were 1000 to 1100, now gone to 1400, and all the specialties, including the angiography, angioplasty, bypass, pacemaker, the dialysis. The best part of this hospital that 99% there is no prescription going to these poor people. The teaching standard is increased, and the teachers who are there, they are putting their heart to teach the undergraduate student, postgraduate student, taking different camps in the society, which making a poor people, needy people, where the doctor goes and examines under one roof, so that one patient is screened by 10 specialties, and these poor people really get benefit. I honor that with this help of the Department of Medicine, you all, the senior respected teachers in this college, in the society, you have really come to this hospital, grace the occasion, bless this hospital, and with your blessing, you guide us so that this hospital will and this college will be a forefront runner in this India. We are happy to announce that we are doing the largest segment of bariatric surgery, almost 12 cases per week, and that too free. And as all your physicians know, that the backbone of all the diseases is obesity. Once we target obesity, the coronary heart disease, kidney disease, hypertension, diabetes, stroke will develop, and the malignancy as well will lessen down. And I really appreciate your presence here, and I request all of you can spend once in a month time and to guide our teachers and students and show your ability, what you taught us. If your glimpse to the newer students comes, I will be definitely happy. And as a dean, I again thank you all of you. God bless you.
Now I request all of you, we will take a break and we will first have a photograph. So I will request all of you to come in the front porch, and followed by that there is lunch which is served in the canteen area, and we will gather back